Barn.com, the barnauburn.com. It's not offensive being called the Barn?
I don't think so. I don't feel offended. It takes a lot to offend me, though.
Okay. Just making sure there. Just the Barn. I love the name. Yep. I love the logo.
So just like on the Alabama side with Cover Crimson, the barnauburn.com will have some brand new content, new video shows, the message boards. You and Brad are going to continue Village Vice. It has been a very popular show. You guys have killed it with Village Vice. That's going nowhere. Will continue to be absolutely free. But you, Kyle Rush, and a cast of thousands, it seems, are going to be also creating some new Auburn content.
Yeah, it's already kind of hit the ground running. So we're very excited about it. And hey, props to Kyle. I mean, Kyle's been in the message board world for a long time. It's actually how we got connected. And he has assembled an army of insiders that's ready to drop kind of nuggets all over the place all the time. So it's gonna be a blast. And like we said, it's already kind of filling up with some stuff.
Yeah, it is. Will Herring, former Auburn great, going to contribute some during football season. There'll be a lot more during basketball season as well.
Oh, there's already a basketball scoop on there.
Oh, whoa.
Already?
Yeah. What's the scoop, Dunaway?
Well, I'm not giving it away, Brian.
Let me guess. Is this Dunaway's general discussion?
No, it's not. It's from Charlie 5. It's
Charlie
from Kyle.
5, yeah. Kyle Rush, Charlie 5. You've seen him on Twitter, and Charlie is well-sourced in the Auburn athletics program. So Zach, you guys at the Barn are already scooping something in basketball.
Oh, no, it's the thread that starts any scoop will be on this thread.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's going to have basketball stuff too, Brown. Yes.
Basketball scoopage, Zach.
Yeah. And we've got, the guy who's most plugged into Auburn baseball is going to be posting there. His name's Lindsey Crosby. So, yeah, we've got you covered every step of the way. But, yeah, Kyle's going to be doing his daily show that he's been doing for the better part of a year, moving over to the YouTube page that's going to be called The Barn now, which obviously is going to be super, super exciting. With same place that you've been watching Village Vice with me and Brad. And so that's going to be your hub for a lot of Auburn stuff.
Yep. And again, that is remaining free. Village Vice, all the stuff you're getting free now remains free, but we're creating new things for you. A new free daily show and some new shows on the subscription site as well. And as we talked about with Clint, a lot of game day reactions, Zach, snap counts, depth chart updates, reaction to recruiting. I mean, just all the stuff that fans have grown to love. We've paid attention. We know what people like, and that's what you guys are going to deliver.
Yeah, the one thing Clint's going to bring to the table that we cannot is that chest hair that was poking out. We cannot come anywhere close to that. Props to you, Clint.
Yeah, you can work on that, Zach. Work on that.
No, I thought it was just our high definition monitors in here, so it was popping everywhere. Yes, absolutely. I had 3D glasses on for that shot.
I like it. All right, Zach, we're excited, man. Thank you for jumping on with us, and we look forward to this thing cooking, man.
Yeah, absolutely. TheBarnAuburn.com. Come hang out, guys. It's going to be a blast.
That's right. Thank you, Zach. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Guys.
TheBarnAuburn.com. Again, $1 for the first month, $9.95 a month after that, or get the annual subscription for $99.99 a year. CoverCrimson.com, TheBarnAuburn.com. Those are the two websites. Ooh, I like that graphic Scott's got right there.
Yeah.
Put them two together.
We're
Iron Bowl.
Already on page 2 on the Barn.
Uh-oh. Yep. Heating up already, huh?
Already on page 2.
So you love Alabama, you love
Just
Auburn.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now that includes Rockstar in the Floribama Lounge to end the show coming up in 3 hours from now, 2 hours and 45 minutes exactly. Todd Fuhrman joins us from Vegas when he drags his lazy butt out of bed, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Vegas time. He'll come join us then, and we'll talk a lot of what's happening with the NFL exhibition, which got going for the first full weekend last night. No Brownie today vacation. Emily Grace McWhorter not on campus today. You of course know Lance Taylor, Jim Dunaway, all the guys behind the glass, Rockstar, Forrester, Tyler, Lunceford back there, Taylor Korn handling everything on the social media platform. And then our expanded family over at covercrimson.com. They're over there talking about the scrimmage this weekend, and down at thebarnauburn.com, talking about the scrimmage this weekend. You just got back from campus. I'll ask you a question in a second, but LT, you and I were chit-chatting before the show. This first big scrimmage weekend and then the next scrimmage weekend before the season starts, where you learn a lot about the teams. But the only thing I ever think about on these Saturdays is what Texas just experienced and C.J. Baxter. I worry about every Saturday night for the next 2 Saturdays worrying about a big injury.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's you know, you look at C.J. Baxter and, you know, projected as one of the best running backs in all of college football. Now, I had a conversation with Chip Brown, who follows the Longhorns. He's on top of it. He's followed that program forever, and he's like, Jaden Blue is going to be great, and they have depth behind it. So it didn't seem like, having a conversation with him, he's like, nothing has changed. The expectation is the exact same. That just seems like a big piece of the puzzle when you lost your now 2 leading rushers, your top 5 receivers last year, and you're having to replace all this. But, you know, he told me, hey, look, we averaged 35, 36 points per game. I think it'll be up in the 40s this year. So, you know, the projection is they go into the SEC, the offense even better, losing a starting running back. But I hear what you're saying. That is the one thing in camp you worry about. There's no significant quarterback at either Alabama or Auburn as far as quarterback battles. So the one thing you really want to look for is people to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And you've been on campus, Tuscaloosa and then Auburn. We'll go in that order. Going into this first scrimmage weekend, what are a couple of things you think everyone is talking about in Tuscaloosa and at Auburn?
Well, I've got my notes like you guys know I like to have. So for Alabama, I think the focal point is going to be the secondary to see if they can step up, make big plays, because during camp you're seeing flashes, but you're not seeing the full picture, especially with those media windows that were given. I know you're interested in right tackle.
Yeah,
very
I am.
interested.
I am. That offensive line looks good, LT. But
I mean, the left side, it's going to be as good as any offensive line, any left side in college football. The right side seems like it's got a couple of moving parts.
Yeah, I think that's the position battle to watch in Tuscaloosa. And then the young DBs. I really want to see something out of Mbakwe, as well as Damani Jackson, who's actually available for media. So that's kind of an update for you guys, is that we're starting to see some of those transfers be able to chat with us media people after, and that's been cool to see. We got Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver, and then, of course, we got Damani Jackson on Tuesday.
And he was the big USC guy, right?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say big, but... Yeah. He was part of the terrible USC defenses over the last couple of years.
Maybe he was the shining star.
But, I mean, as far as a recruit coming out, there was a lot of expectation, you know, new environment, new atmosphere. Maybe it rejuvenates him, and, you know, playing with other players that are really, really good. I mean, that makes a difference, too.
Yeah, there's been high praise for him and Jalen Mbakwe specifically. Xavier Brown is dealing with a hand injury, but still intrigued to see what comes out of him. Okay,
so if you want a complete breakdown, other stuff that hasn't been covered all week long by EG on campus, you can go over to covercrimson.com, some free stuff over there, some paywall stuff, shows, and insider information that you can get for the whole crew over there, a long laundry list. I won't tell you every day about who all's over there, but it includes Clint and Stacy and Chris Marler and the guys over there. covercrimson.com. Go over there and check that out, including breakdowns from Clint and Stacy today on what they're expecting to see in this scrimmage coming up. Now down at Auburn, thebarnauburn.com. You were there yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're going into a scrimmage weekend situation as well. Well, what are some of the focal points of that?
Yeah, for me specifically, it's Peyton Thorne. I think that's a lot of people's, because there's a lot of questions around him, of course. But Coach Nick said that he has a quiet confidence and a different sense of urgency. I want to see how that translates on the field. I want to see some big plays from him, as well as how the tight ends are utilized. So that was something that I was also able to chat with the offensive coaches about. And it seems like Coach Freeze is able to utilize his favorable tight end scheme now because there's some depth in that room, and I'm interested to see how that's going to play out on the field.
Well, I think one of the more underrated and underplayed player last year as far as limited touch is Rivaldo Fairweather.
Right.
I mean, he's one of those tight ends that can do so many things, and you've got to, I know he was the leading receiver last year, but still only had 38 grabs. Got to get him more involved.
Yes, I feel like that he was just a victim of a scheme that didn't fit him, and now that there's some comfortability and depth there as well as continuity on the staff as a whole, it looks like it's going to be pretty exciting from that front.
So is he the kind of tight end that now translates to the NFL level? Is he a pass-catching tight end more than the traditional blocker
Blocking.
occasionally?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, 6'4", 250 pounds. I mean, you could put him up next to, some really big, like a Mike Williams.
Right.
Mike Williams probably more slender, but yeah, I think Fairweather's game is more getting in space.
Yeah. It's interesting. You're still new to the business, but our buddy Bruce Feldman has been doing this freak list.
Was Rivaldo on it?
I don't have the whole list, but I did see who was number one because you're speaking of speed and size. The number one guy was Nick Harbor, 242-pound wide receiver from South Carolina, who's also a track guy. And he's not a tight end. He's listed as a wide receiver, but at 242, he could be one of those guys in the NFL that could be one of those hybrids that could line up.
And look, and I know Bruce released this list, and it's always fun. Alex Orgy was on that list to see the different type of things physically these guys can do. On the top of that list last year was Joe Melton, and watching him last night, he looked better in the limited action I saw him with New England than I saw him look at Tennessee last year.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and I started to just think, Anthony Richardson. I started to think about, I hate to say Josh Allen because Josh Allen has proven himself as a top 5 quarterback, but just raw potential, just out there scrambling around, making plays with his legs, made a couple of throws, and you just wonder if Joe Milton's going to be one of these guys that has a much better NFL career than a college career. I still find it hard to believe he's going to be starting, but the way he looked last night,
So I
pretty
remember Alabama, Tennessee. I'm trying to find the video to send to Forrester. I happen to be standing behind him. I'm sending it right now. And I looked at him, and I couldn't really see his number at first. I couldn't see his last name, and I was like, that is a big guy. He was just huge. I realized that's Joe Milton. And the rest of the game, I watched him, and he just moved. He's just a oaf, basically.
Yeah.
Just huge.
A huge dude at quarterback.
A huge dude at quarterback.
Opposite of what we experienced at the Orange Bowl that year with Kyler Murray. We were standing next to him. We couldn't believe that he was actually that small down at the Orange Bowl. We'll jump into what LT saw last night in the NFL exhibition, what's coming up tonight in the NFL exhibition after LT tells you about Dr. B. But again, if you want to play NFL exhibition games all weekend long, there are games Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. You can do that at lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com. Dr. B bringing you part of the show today, my friend.
Yeah, me and Brown both doing that non-invasive treatment on the couch 3 times each week, 30 minutes each time. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Since then, Dr. B, for more than 20 years, women and men have turned to him for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. Beckenstein today, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Stewart over in the mybookie.ag chat room. Will there be other shows this year like Respect the Process, DJ Football, Talk of Champions? More announcements coming up. That was just the tip of the iceberg yesterday on the 2 new websites and the some of the paywall information, chat room information that you could have at your disposal for Auburn and Alabama fans. But over the next few weeks, more announcements leading up to the start of the season. We'll let you know a little bit every day next week of something else leading into our Thursday night kickoff party, which is next Thursday night at Walk-On Stadium Trace. Our friends at Bud Light and Adams Beverage and a whole bunch of folks will be out there. That's next Thursday night, starting at 5 until the party ends. So save the date. We are doing this for the 4th time. It'll be the end of our 3rd year, right? Is that correct?
The end of our 3rd year, yes.
Yeah.
August 16th, we begin year 4.
We'll begin year 4 of this little experiment. And,
you were, what, sophomore in college?
What year was that, I guess?
2021?
2021.
I was a sophomore.
Had you become Georgia Southern homecoming queen yet?
No, that was senior year.
That was 2022?
2022.
Yeah, 2022 homecoming queen. Did you ever win homecoming queen? I did.
Nope. Dunaway did not.
Did you ever win Mr. Echo?
Nope, that was Brown. Was Mr. Echo. I was, God, what was I? I think I was Everybody got a trophy at Thompson, I guess. I felt like I was co-class clown.
Co-class?
Yeah,
clown?
like I think I feel like I shared something with my buddy Rick Long, and then there was a girl, and then he and we split something. It seemed like it wasn't most athletic. I'll tell you that. It was something nicest. I may have been the nicest guy in class. I don't know.
Senior
what it was.
superlatives? Was that what it was?
These were senior whatever that word is. Yeah.
Superlative.
Superlative.
Yosemite.
Yosemite.
So in the NFL last night, there were some folks in the chat room that said it was the scramble by Joe Melton for the first down and something that made him, he had to say it made him look so good. Let's go first with the Giants and Lions. Your takeaway, your big picture takeaway of that game.
Well, you didn't see much. You didn't see either starting quarterback. We got to see Hendon Hooker finally healthy on the field, so that was nice for Detroit. I think ultimately Hendon Hooker is going to be the backup to Jared Goff. And New York's got a situation right now with Daniel Jones. You've locked him into this contract. He didn't play last night, but your backup quarterbacks, Tommy DeVito, that was a fun story last year with the, mob-looking agent that represented him. But DeVito looked bad last night. Drew Lock even looked worse last night. Malik Neighbors, I'd never seen this before. So it had a graph on Malik Neighbors, because I didn't get to see that game. I only had the game on NFL Network. It was the NFL Network alternative, so it was only available, I think, in Detroit and New York markets. But watching the other game, I saw where the stat popped up that Malik Neighbors played like 13 snaps and ran 7 routes. Like normally it's Malik Neighbors targeted 8 times for 5 grabs. Like the 2 times, he was wide open twice, and Drew Lock couldn't even get the ball close to him. So anyway, I think Malik Neighbors is going to be a stud. I just don't know if it's the same quarterback situation in New York.
Continuing that long LSU tradition. I'll ask you this real quick.
Eric Gray looked really good, though. And I don't know if you remember Eric Gray from Tennessee to Oklahoma in his limited time yesterday. He had close to 100 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and he looked explosive. So, you're missing Saquon Barkley, who goes in division now to the Philadelphia Eagles. Eric Gray is a name to watch out for.
Which could be one of the reasons they let, as Herm told us last week, why they let Saquon take a cab. Didn't even take an Uber. Took a cab down to Philadelphia. A guy like Russell Wilson, who's not going to start tonight for Pittsburgh, he's banged up, injured a little bit. If they cut him loose before the season starts to only cost themselves $1 million, could he go and improve the quarterback situation for the Giants, you think?
I don't know. Brian Daboll, would you risk bringing that in right now? Because Daboll's coaching for his life, so you got to have your best opportunity, whether it's, Daniel Jones or somebody else. I mean, this is a tough situation for Brian Daboll.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. The other game, New England and Carolina, Patriots win that game last night. No starters in that game, right?
No Bryce Young. Jack Plummer, who we saw, I guess, the last time playing for Louisville in that one of the worst offensive performances we've ever seen in a championship game for Louisville against Florida State. He got the start last night, did not look good. And on the other side, really the only thing, you got to see Drake May play one series. They really didn't ask him to do anything. Jacoby Brissett, who's going to be your starter, came in. He was 0 for 3. But Joe Melton was the story last night, and more so with his legs.
Yeah, more so with his legs last night. All right, we'll get back to college football coming up. But one more thing in this segment after I tell you about our friends at Johnson RV. By the way, NFL tonight. Houston and Pittsburgh is the NFL Network game at 6 o'clock. C.J. Stroud, I don't know if you'll see him. You will see Justin Fields starting for the Steelers in that game. You may get a series from C.J., but really no reason for him to get out there tonight. Lanceslog.com for the plays tonight and all weekend long there. Our friends at Johnson RV getting you ready for tailgating season. It is coming right now, and that includes the end of summer RV showcase that you get at johnsonrvcenter.com, johnsonrvcenter.com. America's coolest brands and all the low prices this season right now. Previously owned travel trailers in great condition starting at just $397 a month and a lot more, and you get that RV warranty forever. The 2 great locations right there and all the hottest deals right now at johnsonrvcenter.com, Decatur and Coleman, right off of I-65. It's our friends at johnsonrvcenter.com. One thing to by the way, Pritch Law pointing out over-the-air TV, ABC 3340 or 68 tonight, Falcons and Dolphins. You get them on tonight in some exhibition this weekend. So fun to watch there. Thank you, Pritch, for that. At mybookie.ag chat room. Before we get too far away, baseball. Little change in the wild card standings last night, EG, with your Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, the Braves are not in postseason contention. And it's very painful if you're a Braves fan, but we are weathering the storm over on the pennant race, me and Ush. But it's not a good time right now.
Still in the playoffs, just not right. They're just not.
So they're a half a game. The Mets are now a half a game up on the Braves in the wild card spot. So the Braves are no longer in the wild card control.
Yeah. So the Mets are there, the Braves are there. There's no way this team LT ends up missing the playoffs. So.
I would not think so.
I mean, it's a long way to fall to miss the playoffs.
It is.
But I mean, they are. I mean, it's one thing they're not scoring runs. When they do score runs, they give up a 16 spot like yesterday.
Right. Well, also too, a week ago we were chatting about how at the end of the week the Braves could be 3 games behind Philly. And right now, it's the Braves are out of the wild card spot. So
yeah, your problem is the Padres and the Diamondbacks are playing so well. So you got them playing great. We talked to Buster yesterday about the Diamondbacks, and he said it was about this time they started to surge last year en route to winning the NL pennant.
Right.
Now you got to worry about those teams, and you just didn't see them coming, really.
Yeah, and my apologies, EG. I thought it was just the Mets had passed the Braves, and the Braves were just further down in the wild card.
No.
I was on vacation. I didn't know they had fallen where they're actually a half game out of being in the postseason.
Right.
That is a tremendous fall. What is that? 6 games above 500 now?
Yes.
And losers of 5 straight.
5 straight, Dunaway.
Yeah. Don't
Five
say it like it's my fault.
No,
I'm just saying,
I know.
Just reading the standings here.
5 straight. The schedule is favorable somewhat, but I've talked a lot about it on the Pennant Grace that the Braves don't necessarily struggle with the good teams. It's the teams that they should win. For example, splitting with the Marlins, that's a 4-game sweep right there, which should have been going out to Colorado, play the Rockies. On paper, you should win those games, but
that's still on the road. Then you got to go to San Francisco
and then
at the Angels. I mean, it is road games that you should at least be able to take half of those.
Right, but consider this. The White Sox, 2 of their wins are against the Atlanta Braves this season. 2 of the White Sox wins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they swept my Tampa Bay Rays, by the way.
The good news is still got 48 games.
There is still time for sure, and I think that what a lot of Braves fans are banking on is the health returning, especially Michael Harris. Fried is back. There's also been some questions surrounding the rotation, how Snit is utilizing what he's got. Chris Sale is getting some extra days of rest, and Ronaldo Lopez is now on the IL. And the question is, well, why was Ronaldo Lopez not given the same treatment? Maybe he wouldn't be in the position he's in right now. So hopefully this is rock bottom for the Braves and we can only go up from here. But in the last couple of weeks, the momentum that's been given to them and earned has not been utilized.
Yeah. So that's where the Braves are as we get going here. Olympics continue, final few days of competition there. What was an amazing basketball game yesterday, if you watched it live or saw a little bit of it in prime time last night, the Americans, men, down 17 to Serbia, down 13 to start the fourth quarter, rally, and they win 95-91. They'll now play host France tomorrow for the gold medal. Loser gets the silver. What was amazing is listening to LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Steve Kerr after the game. LeBron James is 39. Steph Curry is 36 and scored 36 points, by the way. And Kevin Durant is 35. The three of them and Steve Kerr said it was one of the more enjoyable nights they've had in a long time in basketball on just the atmosphere and the comeback and just the fun they had in that. That was a heck of a throw Embiid in there, he had 19. That was a heck of a basketball showcase, especially that fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter was incredible, and just the emotions the Americans were showing. And I think sometimes you've got to get them in this situation. Look, Serbia played their asses off, and this was a Serbian team that had been dominated by the Americans twice in Olympic play over the last month. And we talked about Jokic, and I was like, I think the plan is for him to play 40 minutes. He played 38. He just didn't play well. That's what's crazy, is for Serbia to dominate the first 3 quarters of that basketball game, and Jokic didn't play like Jokic. But to see the Americans have that pride down the stretch, that was fun to see, and that was a hell of a comeback. And now you get hometown France with Wembanyama for the finals on Saturday, and France isn't supposed to be in this situation. So you wonder if there's a letdown with the Americans having that huge comeback and with that French crowd being behind Wemby and those guys. I don't know. Be interesting to watch.
But you watch the NBA right now and you see all these French kids coming over and they're being drafted, Wemby being the latest. this could be an entertaining game, and especially in basketball, the home crowd can make a difference.
Of course. I have enjoyed watching the Olympics. I find myself watching sports I don't regularly watch. Beach volleyball has been one of them. But that basketball game yesterday, it was just the excitement, and I loved the emotions, like you said, because we don't often see that from that team, and it was just USA.
Well, and I think it was some relief too. And what you got to worry about in the semifinals, that's not like for the gold right there. So there was that sigh of relief knowing that there's such a magnifying glass on Team USA. Yeah. I don't think there's another, maybe for some of the gymnasts, but for this team, it's one of those that it's so polarizing if they're to lose, if they don't win gold. It's gold or absolutely nothing.
That's right.
And it's more of, I don't think other athletes get criticized like the basketball players do. But can you imagine the narrative if they would have lost this game? Everybody's just dogging them out. They were lazy. They weren't focused.
Yeah, because they're millionaires, multimillionaire athletes that are the best at what they do. They play in the NBA. We send our best golfers over there. We send
Scheffler won gold.
Yeah, we send our best people over there in other sports that are even professionals. But it's the basketball players that I think that wear the pressure more than anywhere else. Because it's our sport. We didn't invent golf. We invented basketball.
Yeah, I think for those athletes, they should dominate. But at the same time, you hear somebody like Brian Windhorst, who covers the NBA for a living, and he said this Serbian team has been building for this for a decade. These guys have all played together for that long. And when you throw, I know the talent's there, but when you throw them together and you bring Steve Kerr in and you just try to make it work when you're playing against a unit that is that cohesive for that long, that can be difficult.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks they had together to get ready for the Olympics. So big win there Saturday. They'll play for the gold, and the loser gets the silver there. All right, when we come back, a little projection. If we had a Big Ten SEC challenge, I got the top 10 rankings, Big Ten SEC, how much fun it would be if it was like basketball and football, the Big Ten SEC football challenge this year. A couple of other things we'll get to later in the show. Not only is Fuhrman with us, but LT and I have an annual bet that I've never won, where I try to predict. Back when it was 12 teams in the playoffs, I had to get 8 of the 12 right. We kicked it up when there's 14 in the playoff. I got to get 9 of 14 right. And every year I look at this, and it looks so easy. So later in the show, either in the second or third hour, whenever Forrester gets the graphic ready, I've got my 9 NFL playoff teams. And I'm going to say it again. Again, it looks really easy.
Always does.
And it never works out. I've never got this bet right. There's always one team that falls on the face. I will let you know 1 favorite team, 2 favorite teams on the show. I think only 2 favorite teams on the show in the playoffs. I have them projected in the playoffs. We'll see who I land mine coming up as we continue on. The show being brought to you by the wonderful folks at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Jump in our mybookie.ag chat room, and we'll have a good time throughout this Friday. This is The Next Round.
Call The Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you, 969-8100 or Michelson. LaserVision.com.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or the Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Back with you on the next round. Rockstar, if you'll give me cut number 5, what LT was talking about. Steve Sarkisian reacting to the CJ Baxter injury yesterday after practice, and why scrimmages are so important. Here is Sark, deep in the heart of Texas, talking about filling the hole that's left by the Baxter injury.
Steve, does this scrimmage become even more important now, with CJ out? You have 2 freshmen in the mix, just getting them on board and ready to go.
No, with no question. But we always think kind of down the road. We're always thinking contingency planning. And so, we've touched all along from day one that more guys are going to have to play for us this fall. And it's going to require our freshmen to get indoctrinated to college football quicker. Essentially, we have 4 kind of preseason games before we get into SEC play, and we want to play a lot of people. And to play a lot of people, that means young players have to play, most notably those 2 backs. And so hopefully, they can get some good experience this weekend and continue to grow as players. I've been impressed with both those two young guys here early on in camp. They're working really hard. They got natural ability. They're both physical players. So it's not a development in a sense of, man, they need to get bigger over an offseason. These guys are more than equipped physically to do it. They're just going to need to get them their reps.
Sark there on 4 preseason games. Forrester, if you can pull up that Texas football schedule there, I'd be putting that on my. I don't know if they still have billboards in locker rooms, LT, but I'd be putting that up there. 4 preseason games before we get into SEC play. I know what he's saying, but he's got that second trip right there, Texas at Michigan. That one. I'd be putting up 4 preseason games would be somewhere on my bulletin board there if I was Sharon Moore.
Again, I think a lot of Michigan's going to depend how good is Alex Orji at quarterback. You had an elite quarterback last year in J.J. McCarthy, which you didn't have to ask him to do a lot to win games for Michigan. Week 2, Michigan's going to still have a ton of confidence. They're going to be on a 16-game winning streak, the defending national champions. For whatever the crowd can do at the Big House, I've heard that is a crowd that loves to sit on their hands. It's a big noon Fox kickoff, and I don't know. That would be a tough loss for Texas. I think Michigan's almost expected to lose that game, but if they were to win that game, Texas is yet to actually scratch SEC play. That would be a problem. It would be very, very difficult for the Longhorns to at least not absorb one other loss if they were to lose to Michigan.
When you're on with Chip and the guys in Austin, Texas, do they have any fear of that game? Do you sense that there is any like we cover Alabama and Auburn, right now, I guess Auburn's biggest out-of-conference game is Cal. There's no concern of Auburn losing that one. Alabama's big out-of-conference game is Wisconsin. It doesn't feel like there's any urgency. I worry more than anyone else, but that still feels like an Alabama win on the road at Madison. Do you sense when you're talking to Chip and them that there's even a belief in the back of their minds that they lose that football game?
The only specific games that have come up, over the last just month, 2 months, talking to those guys, have been the Georgia game and the A&M game. And I think if you're a Texas fan, you look at this, you believe Michigan is rebuilding a little bit and Harbaugh's gone. So I think Texas believes the roster is better than Michigan. And then you look at Oklahoma, a game that you were upset in last year, but now Oklahoma's got a first-year starting quarterback in Jackson Arnold. That's kind of a revenge game. I don't think Texas fans are overly concerned with Oklahoma. I think they look at Georgia, and then they really fear November 30th having to play A&M for the first time in 13 years. And if they were to lose that game, and that game was to mean something, whether it was a trip to the SEC championship or whether it was their third loss and they missed the college football playoff, that would be devastating for Texas fans.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about that game at media days, and it was to the point where it was overpowering almost because A&M is putting a ton of emphasis on not only contending in that game, but winning that game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Great question from Royal Payne. I'll put this hypothetical out there for you guys in the mybookie.ag chat room, and I'll start with you, EG. If Sark had stayed as the OC in 2021, 2022, 2023, and Nick Saban retires, do you think it's an easy promotion, Sark, to be the guy that follows Saban at that point? Or does Byrne, who had been doing his research, knowing that today was coming, and had fallen in love with Kalen DeBoer, would he have still gone out and brought in Kalen DeBoer? You first.
I mean, I think for ease of transition, that would have been the easiest choice. I think you have continuity. You're not bringing in an entire new staff. You're retaining recruiting. You're retaining just comfortability there. And I think that he had proven himself enough to be a natural fit for that role.
What about you?
Yeah, I think Sark would have been the guy. I think there was a lot of, internally, I think people love Sark. Obviously, you know what kind of style of football you were getting, and there's a reason Texas gave him the job. Look, he didn't have, when you look at the resume as a head coach, it was very, very average from Washington to USC, but it seemed like a different Sark when he was the offensive coordinator under Nick Saban.
And he was bringing in awesome offensive talent on the recruiting trail. You would have been able to not miss a beat. Not that Alabama's missing a beat. They're number 2 in recruiting right now.
I honestly think Kalen DeBoer is the better coach. You know, ultimately time will tell on that. But I think back when the hire went down, I think Alabama fans, with the familiarity with Sark, would have rather had Sark than Kalen DeBoer.
Right. Well, I also think about this. Lane Kiffin was brought up by more so students, but there's familiarity there. You guys asked me on campus, has the name Kalen DeBoer come out of anyone's mouth? No. Yeah. It was a completely out of left field. Now, if you were a college football fan and you followed college football as a whole, it was obvious. Like, yes, that is the guy. But if you didn't, they wanted Lane Kiffin.
Well, it was just interesting because, Lane Kiffin aside, but Dan Lanning was a guy everybody wanted. Sarkisian would have been a guy everybody wanted. And you look at Kalen DeBoer head-to-head with those guys, he's 4-0.
He's 4-0. CPAP Plus bringing you that hypothetical, but also that little 4-0 fact right there. CPAP Plus can change your life.
Your partner in the Pennant Grace, Ush, went to see the fine folks at CPAP Plus. He said his biggest issue when he was wearing the CPAP is he couldn't get insurance involved. There was a disconnect between his doctor, between the insurance company. He said he went into CPAP Plus, the Highway 280 location. They made the phone calls for him. They got it all worked out. Look, don't buy your mask and supplies from Amazon or online. Go see the folks at CPAP Plus. See what you're actually buying. Visit any of those 3 convenient locations. Pelham, Highway 280, now open and Trustful. They've got a free CPAP checkup for you, free filters, no appointments needed. They carry the best equipment from names like ResMed, React, Fisher Paykel, with masks and supplies in stock every single day. If you need it today, guess what? They've got it today. They've also got travel CPAP machines. With over 200 5-star reviews on Google, the folks at CPAP Plus are CPAP users themselves, so the people helping you know what it's like and they are ready to help. Just Google CPAP Plus or stop into one of those 3 convenient locations today.
One of the things I love about college basketball season is how quickly you can put together a schedule and you can do things like Big Ten, Big East Challenge, ACC, SEC challenges. And we've always dreamed of that in football. And maybe there comes a day where it can be so fluid. If there's just 2 big conferences, we can have something like an SEC Big Ten challenge. But I've taken the media polls and I've put out, this would be the best way to do it, by the way, if we ever do this, just, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, all the way down. Made for TV event here. But I've thrown out top 10 SEC top 10 Big Ten teams in a challenge. We'll just, for argument's sake, neutral site, dome stadium, don't factor in weather, time of year, or crowd, 50-50 crowds and all that. Who would win the games this year I want your thoughts. We'll start at the top.
Well, I'll give you what the numbers would be on these games.
Okay, give me the betting odds. Ohio State, Georgia, neutral site. A lot of people think it's going to be the national championship game this year. If you're polling America right now, like they used to do in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when you polled the audience, this would be the bet on who plays for the national championship.
Yeah, and I think it would be, hey, we're going to throw 3 towards Georgia. I think Georgia would be a 3-point favorite.
Yeah,
3 points.
I think Georgia. I'm going to go Georgia as well.
Yeah, that if that ends up being the game, it's going to be a hell of a game. Am I wrong to think that Ohio State has more talent than Georgia?
They've spent the money for it.
Yeah, it seems like the rosters are equivalent.
Yeah, but $20 million
But I think people trust Kirby Smart more than Ryan Day.
Yeah. This number 2 game, it could be a playoff game. Oregon, Texas, neutral site.
I think Texas would be a 1-point favorite. So you've got SEC both favored.
Yeah, so Texas a 1-point favorite. So that's basically a pick 'em game.
I think I get Oregon on that one. I guess it depends on how. I'm thinking about the rest of the schedule, so I need to ignore that. But I'm going to go Oregon.
Who's a better quarterback in that game?
Dylan Gabriel.
At Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, the better NFL quarterback will be Quinn Ewers, but the quarterback I'd rather have for one head-to-head matchup in college would be Dylan Gabriel.
Rematch, Michigan and Alabama. Michigan may be a little high in the media poll there, but still a great defense.
Alabama's 4-point favorite, so 3 for 3 SEC is going to be favored. I would think Alabama would win that game.
I'd go Bama.
You'd go Bama in that? We actually get Texas and Michigan coming up in Michigan. Now it gets interesting here. Penn State, Ole Miss.
Ooh.
Ole Miss 4-point favorite.
This becomes a very popular, by the way, college football projection of a playoff matchup.
I think Ole Miss runs them off the field.
I think Ole Miss. I think that there's a level of urgency to Penn State because they've been on that bubble every year, but I do think Ole Miss wins.
I think both, though. I think they go back to the level of urgency, obviously for Franklin, but I also think for Lane Kiffin
I think Ohio State has that, and that's why I think Kirby would edge them out simply because there's a $20 million, what's the word I'm looking for? $20 million guarantee, basically, and if he doesn't deliver, it's not going to be pretty.
We're going to get this game.
Yeah, and the number 6 right now, LSU, it's probably going to settle around 7, so they're going to be a healthy touchdown favorite against USC, and I think right now, at least I believe LSU wins that game.
When this game was booked, it wasn't an SEC Big Ten challenge. It was an SEC Pac-12 challenge, but it is what it is now.
And this was the game we've talked about that both teams tried to back out of, correct?
Yeah. USC did. I don't know if LSU tried to back out. I think LSU still wanted to play.
Oh,
the game.
yeah. USC did. LSU was all in.
Yeah, LSU was like, no, no, we want this game. But I mean, the closer we get to this game, this is a fun game.
Oh, it's a fun game. It's a great helmet game. I can't remember the last time you saw USC and LSU. It might have been back in the 70s in Baton Rouge.
I remember. I thought it was in the 80s in Baton Rouge. Maybe it was in the 70s. One of my waste of time habits. You always tell me.
I know Charles White played there.
Yeah, you always tell me I should watch movies instead of going back and watching old college football broadcasts. But I've gone back and watched the USC LSU broadcast before in Baton Rouge. Iowa, Missouri. Now, Iowa with a new offensive coordinator, a healthy Cade McNamara, who's back at quarterback. They're going to score more points, but Missouri's going to be the favorite in that one.
Are you
right?
going to another SEC here?
Well, so here's what I'm doing this based on what it would be right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, if I was 11-1 and Missouri's 9-3, then, that obviously factors different. But just where this would be right now, neutral site, Missouri's about a 1.5-point favorite. So, yeah, I've got 6 for 6, SEC favorite at least in these games.
Would you be comfortable putting money on Missouri to win that game?
Oh, boy, that's a tough game. I mean, all these matchups, to me, the two closest matchups aren't the closest matchups are Ole Miss, Penn State, and LSU at USC.
Wisconsin and Tennessee.
Tennessee would be about a 3.5, 4-point favorite.
I'm going Tennessee.
So another good matchup there. Nico at quarterback.
I would go Tennessee too, though.
This was the rivalry when I was a kid. Nebraska and Oklahoma. You'd get that as in a Big Ten SEC matchup. How fun would that be?
And it's going to be our highest number, though. I think this number is going to be 7.5 or 8.
For who?
Oklahoma.
For Oklahoma over Nebraska.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
A sight unseen from both of those quarterbacks there. Matt Rule on the show earlier this week. You can go back wherever you get our podcast, both on Spotify and Apple. For you audio folks, always on YouTube, Instagram, and other places. Washington and A&M.
Right now, that number would be A&M 3.5.
Because you should have a little street value for Washington coming off last year?
Well, yeah, I think there's still respect for Washington. Almost Michigan-like. But I think Michigan obviously has more returning starters. Washington is just replacing everything, including the head coach.
Yeah, and I think A&M has some good talent coming in for Elko to take over.
Yeah, and then the last one, the 10th slot. There are people that may be shocked to see Rutgers' name there, but projections are pretty high. Look at their schedule. Rutgers could end up being a 9-win team this year if everything falls right. And the Auburn Tigers, who we've said a couple of times could be a sneaky 9-win team as well.
Yeah, I think I would list Auburn at 4.5.
4.5. That's another good number. That's another good football game.
So we've got 10 teams in the SEC all favored over the 10 teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it would be. I think all 10 would be favored.
But when you look at it, there was only...
They wouldn't win all 10 games.
Only one was outside the one-score number, though, right?
The only one I believe would be more than a touchdown is possibly Oklahoma. And then, LSU I think is going to settle at 7.
Okay, so Oklahoma and LSU, the closest
now
one.
I wish we were going to see those games.
I mean, we get one of them.
Yeah.
And you sort of get Texas and Michigan there. But imagine if we did that every year, just the opening weekend. You just say SEC Big Ten Challenge. Would that be fun?
I think the SEC and the Big Ten would both say no thank you. I mean, it would be fun for fans. I guess it shakes out, like, can you get into a college football playoff consistently with 3 losses? Because if you play that and then you play a Big Ten or an SEC schedule, that's difficult.
Yeah. Which conference would shy away from it most, you think?
Well, we've already seen it from USC in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Big Ten.
Yeah, I would say the Big Ten.
Show being brought to you by our friends at Michelson. We'll do 4 downs coming up in the next segment. A lot of chat room people over there saying Rutgers runs away with that one. Rutgers, says Keith. Shmoo, Rutgers. I don't know if that's just rivalry talk in the mybookie.com chat room. I don't know. But this Rutgers team is going to be pretty interesting this year. Maybe a spoiler. Michelson can get rid of those glasses and contacts for you forever.
Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. I went to see Dr. Mark Michelson more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, only took 12 minutes for both eyes. 2015 vision, better than 2020. Call this number, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Ask her about the pre-inflation pricing. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Again, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Our old shorebird friend, Jackson Holliday, setting an Orioles record. Youngest guy to go 3 straight games with a home run. Since his callback, he's been on fire. Baseball continues today on the major league level as we hit the dog days. Buster Olney was on the show yesterday. You can go back and catch that wherever you get Next Round podcast. 4 downs on the other side. Stay with us.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Before we get to 4 downs, I want to do our precision video of the day that Forrester has found. But let me tell you about Precision Sports. Sometimes I feel like the video that we're about to see, by the way, Forrester. You've shown it to me. And that's how I end up being injured, by the way, because I feel like this video. And when I get injured, I always go to Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. They get me back in the game. I've had a left leg issue since I got a little bit older. I've hurt a shoulder recently playing golf, had to rehab that. Dr. P and the folks at Precision Sports Medicine Orthopedic gets me back to work, back on the golf course, back into the game. You can make an appointment today, 205-512-3885, 512-3885, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. For all the tweaks, pulls, pains, and breaks, they diagnose it, they treat it, and they do the rehab. And I tell you, every time I do this, what more can I tell you other than when my daughter got hurt recently at church, I sent her straight to Precision Sports Medicine Orthopedics. I trust them with my daughter. That's the highest praise I can give any company, right? Locations Jasper to Alabaster and all around. Orthopedic care better together. Find your provider today in your neighborhood. 205-512-3885. precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Part of the Precision Sports Medicine Orthopedic family at Brookwood Baptist Health, their specialty care network. They're the best. So too is Forrester at finding these unique videos. Let me pull it up real quick so that it's the Iowa State Fair. And this is Finnegan, the biggest boar the Iowa State Fair has ever seen. You can visit him on the west side of the swine barn right now. Give me Forrester's mic. He's Suey Pig. I'm thinking about an Arkansas home game right now or a good barbecue. Forrester, did you have a weight on this pig?
1,420 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's pretty
a lot
big.
of pork.
That is a lot
Wow.
of pork. 1,420 pounds.
I can barely walk. Those poor legs.
Oh.
He does not look happy, Rockstar. I mean, do you think that do you think they fatten him up just for this? That would be sad if they did that. Or do you think it naturally came by this?
I'm guessing naturally, but that's just sad. And the guy on the mic, I can't wait to see what the guy on the mic's saying.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a fun fact about it, according to Reddit College Football. The entire Iowa starting offensive line outweighs this pig by only 133 pounds.
Wow, so 5 guys tackle to tackle by less than my weight. And this one
E.G.,
pig.
do you like pork?
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather have a pork sandwich, bacon? Like, how do you like your pork?
I would say like pulled pork.
Country ham.
Country ham, I don't
So
hate.
salty.
I don't hate country ham.
Blech.
You don't hate it?
No. I mean, I don't have a steak, though, over all of it.
Yeah. I would rather have a steak. But when we were driving out to Dallas for SEC Media Days, Brownie found what was it called? The Tomato Shack or something?
The tomato place.
The tomato place. And I had the best BLT sandwich. It was so good. It was so good. And I've been craving, I've had BLT sandwiches now a lot since I got back from that one trip, just because of that. Slice brings us the 4 downs every day. Tell us about Slice, LT.
5 great locations. Get in, see the Bajalia brothers. Great place to take the family for the weekend, whether it's lunch or dinner. You can pick up a couple of pizzas on the way home. 5 locations: Lakeview, Vestavia, Montebello, Crestline Park, the newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients. It's Slice.
First down.
Who makes the college football playoff first? Mike Elko or Hugh Freeze?
Ooh.
You want time to think?
Yeah, you can go first.
Feel like A&M may be closer this year than Auburn, but the way Auburn's recruiting, I'm gonna go Hugh Freeze and Auburn makes it first. I've lived enough to see those special years roll around every so often at Auburn that would have put them in a 4-team playoff. Absolutely. So I'll go Auburn.
I agree that A&M is in a better spot this year, but like you said, Auburn's trending in the right direction.
I'm going to go A&M maybe this year.
Maybe this year?
Yeah, which is crazy. I just think there's going to be a team out of the SEC on that next level that's going to win 10 games. And if A&M can get past Notre Dame, and again, they're a slight favorite. They've got Missouri at home, LSU at home. They're going to be favored probably in both of those games. They've got to go to Auburn, and they've got Texas. But I think they can navigate this schedule. A lot depends, Connor Wegman. How good is he going to be?
Your memory is better than mine. I'm having a hard time remembering the last big game Notre Dame won. Like they lost that hard-fought one to Ohio State, right?
I think it was the regular season game against Clemson. Which is DJU's first year.
That was the pandemic game, right?
So
they played twice, right?
It was a game that ultimately got them in the college football playoff because they won in the regular season and they lost the rematch in the ACC championship.
And both of them went to the playoffs.
Or maybe they won the ACC championship. Anyway, one of the game against Clemson, the year that they got to a college football playoff.
Yeah, they beat Clemson. They lost to him. Clemson won at Notre Dame, and then it was the ACC championship game. I think that's the last one they won too.
Yeah,
that's why A&M.
No, when's the last time A&M won a big game?
Well, they upset Alabama. Who was the quarterback? Was that a Bryce Young quarterback team?
I thought, yeah, it was a Bryce Young quarterback team. And on the other, it was who was the backup that was so good for A&M that night? He was throwing darts.
Yeah,
and especially on that last possession. God, who was the kid? Help me out, chat room.
It wasn't Connor Wegman, right?
It was not. It was not Haynes King either.
It wasn't. No, it was the other guy.
Yeah, it was the other guy. But
Max Johnson.
It wasn't Max Johnson.
No,
it was not Max Johnson. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Bama fan 1972.
Bama fans have to remember this.
3 bowl guarantees pick show is 2 weeks.
Yeah,
from
the kid
today.
that transferred to Auburn. Who was the kid that transferred to Auburn?
Calzada. Yes.
Yep. Calzada was so good that night.
Good pull.
But yeah, they haven't played in big games either. But anyway, if A&M does win that game, the game is so important to both sides, obviously. But I don't know. I've just got a sneaky feeling A&M, and you guys know I like Hugh Freeze.
You do. Let's do the
second down.
Our man Sam Elliott is celebrating a birthday. 80 years old today, by the way.
He's looked that way for about the past 25.
Fun actor. He has looked the same for a long time. But if I asked you guys, better Sam Elliott movie, Tombstone or Roadhouse?
I don't remember him in Roadhouse. I remember him in Tombstone.
Lunceford said Stars Born.
He was really good in Stars Born.
He really was. He was the guy's friend, right?
His brother. And he was
always
also
wanted to sound like you.
The brother for the Earp brothers with Bill Paxton and Kurt Russell. Yeah, I mean, his best work as far as like critically acclaimed was
Mask.
probably he was good in Mask.
I mean, that's what Pritch Law says.
Yeah.
Mask.
No, he was good. Was his name Gar in Mask? I think.
Can't remember. He had a Harley though.
Yeah. Tombstone and Roadhouse both have a good cheese element. If they're on TV, I cannot not watch. I love both. I think his role in Roadhouse was better though.
Shocker, I have not seen either of those movies.
I'm not
But
shocked.
I do know him for his mustache.
You're playing the role of Brown very well there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tombstone for me.
Yeah, Tombstone, he's just not as hard as he is. I mean, Roadhouse, he's hard. Now, he gets a knife in the chest. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, 1989, though. It's been a while.
He did a season of Justified, Royal Pain.
He did.
That show continues to be brought up to me. Did you ever watch Justified? And I never did.
And Justified is in the Tombstone Roadhouse mode to me, or kind of in that genre that It's got an element of cheese, but it's such a guilty pleasure and so entertaining. But I highly recommend Justified.
Charlie says The Ranch on Netflix.
I've heard he's good in that too.
I never watched The Ranch either. I may have to check that out.
Third down.
Deion Sanders, 58 years old today.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday,
What the hell has he been up
Deion.
to? Guy, you hadn't heard that name.
I'm going to compare him with another former defensive back, but ultimately the better career, Deion Sanders or Kirby Smart?
Oh.
I'm saying the entirety of the career.
Well, I think I'm going to go knee-jerk Kirby.
Yeah, I would go Deion. Now, Kirby, if Kirby wins 3 or 4 more, then I think Kirby's your answer.
I didn't see Kirby in an MC Hammer video.
That is true.
Yeah, but
Deion was showing the dong before the pole vaulter and the pumps and a bump. But Deion's also, he played in a World Series
That's true.
and a regular
Yeah.
season game in the same day.
Yeah, I want to switch to Deion.
He's won a Super Bowl.
And he was an all-star in baseball too, right?
He was.
Yeah, he was an all-star baseball player.
Better athlete,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Kirby's got a way to go. Got a way to go to pass Deion, but I'll go Deion right now.
If Kirby, so Nick's got the most with 7, right? If Kirby was to win 3 more and get 5, would that put him in front of Deion?
Yes.
I think that would.
Yes. I would even say if he doubles it and goes 4. But
Be
not
close.
one more.
Be close.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
Now, normally these are easier to answer because one's dead and the other's not. But Whitney Houston would have been 61 today. Better career, Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey?
Whitney Houston was on her downfall in the beginning. She wasn't doing as much at the end.
See, I think it's Mariah Carey.
That Christmas song does numbers.
Wait, what? You look at Mariah, I think you'd be blown away. I am guessing the number, and I haven't looked, and normally I Wikipedia these when I have them on the 4 downs. I would think the over-under on her number 1 hits are like 27.
Yeah, but also if Whitney never
crazy.
met Bobby Brown, I think we would have a lot different.
Probably. Very sad.
It changed her trajectory. I know there were a couple of Whitney songs I liked back in the day. Her national anthem is a goat.
Incredible.
But Mariah Carey had more hits, I think.
Fantasy, Honey. Can't take those away
All I
from
Want for
Mariah
Christmas
Carey.
Is You.
Yep. People will bang that out in the summer and people still go nuts.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the top 5 on Spotify. Obsessed has now it's different with the downloads now because Whitney wasn't popular with downloads, but
Rockstar, on your end, can you check Whitney Houston number 1s? Because I got Mariah Carey right here.
Obsessed has 416.2 million downloads. We Belong Together, 632.3 million downloads. Fantasy, 420 million downloads. I Know What You Want, 344. Always Be My Lover or whatever.
She had 11 number 1 hits.
Okay, it looks like here
23 top 10 hits. This is the Billboard Top 100.
I'm trying to find 220 sold, 5 Grammys. Where the hell are number 1s?
Lunceford Samurai has 19.
Okay, well, 19's a lot.
19 to 11.
Yeah.
That's Deion to Kirby right now.
Yeah.
So Mariah for me as well. And that is our 4 downs today, brought to you by our great friends at Slice.
Yeah, created by the late Jeff Pajaya. His brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate his legacy. Get into one of those 5 locations this weekend for lunch or dinner. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Still to come, a this or that. Also an opportunity for me to in a stake bet, pick 9 of the 14 NFL playoff teams this year. So a bet I've never won. And we'll talk to Todd Fuhrman coming up in the next segment. The show being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA. Guys, as you get a little bit older, you want to stay on top of your health. You can do that with 35 urologists, 16 locations around the great state of Alabama. Treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, they'll take care of you. Visit urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com to schedule that appointment today. We're back in a moment on TNR.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
I'm here with my good friend Jon Lunceford of Lunceford Furniture to tell you about special values on some super comfortable seating. What you got, John?
Lance, every year we stock up on great comfort items like Lazy Boy recliners and sofas so that our customers can be ready for fall and football. This year is no different. We've made special purchases that will deliver great value to Next Round listeners and give them the most comfortable seat in the house. And as always, we've got the best prices in the state on Lazy Boy and the best selection anywhere.
That's awesome. We all know from years of shopping with you guys that Lunceford Furniture is the home for Lazy Boy value.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Our friends at Odie's bringing you part of the show right now. LT has trivia there every Wednesday night. There's a new location on there in Homewood that I believe Rockstar is performing at tonight. Is that correct?
It is. We have Dayton from Will's Dayton Rockstar just had his first child last night.
Nice.
Rebecca Chase.
What a great name, Rebecca Chase.
So we will be, it's going to be Will Doug Rockstar tonight.
So
Will Doug
Rockstar tonight. Still a loving story there.
Yeah, it is. And so we're not Dayton Rockstar anymore. We're Doug Rockstar.
Yeah. Great place to go after work today. Maybe you're just looking for a great lunch. Rodney Davis doing incredible food for more than 3 decades. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich, ice cold beer buckets full of Bud Light. Stop in one of the 2 locations, the original in Crestline and the one that Rockstar will be performing at tonight. That's in Edgewood and Homewood. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
Look at that great-looking food. Speaking of great-looking, Todd Fuhrman, married up, but he's good-looking too. He joins us from Vegas. He's out of bed, and he's ready to talk sports with us. Fuhrman, how you doing on this dog day of summer Friday afternoon?
I am good, Dunaway. We've been out of bed out here on the West Coast for a couple hours. Have to grind through some of those NFL preseason numbers that are on the move and make sure that all of our ducks are in a row, because 2 weeks from tomorrow, we get a little week 0 college football kickoff overseas in lovely Ireland.
Oh, can't wait for that. I want to get to football in a second. Can we start with just baseball as we go down the stretch here? The Phillies slumped a bit. Now they're hot again. I feel like the Dodgers are going to get healthy past the trade deadline. Who are you looking at now? A great play if you had to pick somebody to be the champions in the World Series champions when it's all said and done, the betting favorite, not necessarily favorite, but somebody Todd Fuhrman loves right now?
Well, the team I'm not looking to bet would be everyone's favorite Atlanta Braves down in your neck of the woods, who for the first time all season find themselves on the outside looking into the playoff picture after a horrific performance in their last couple of games against the Milwaukee Brewers. Still favored to make the playoffs, but I think that number, even with the schedule, in terms of its ease over the final 2 months or so inside the top 10, I have some real concerns about Atlanta figuring things out. But when I'm looking in the National League, I think a team like the San Diego Padres, if they're able to get their rotation together, and we'll see if Joe Musgrove can return and look like a dynamic force. We're not exactly sure what kind of personal issues Yu Darvish is dealing with, and if he'll play in and can get stretched out in time. But this is a Padres team that I think can fly a little bit under the radar. I know they've been playing great baseball to start the month, 5-1 so far during August. I actually like their price tag of anybody on the board in the mid-20s to win the World Series and maybe finally get over the hump. We saw them start to make those strides last year. The big thing, though, in this current format, it's actually been an advantage with a limited sample size to see teams come out of the wild card round instead of actually win their division.
Todd, speaking of that, it's EG. Brownie's out today, so I'm taking over. You mentioned my Atlanta Braves. What are your thoughts in that wild card spot for them to make it?
You know, I have some concerns right now because when you look at Atlanta, Emily, I mean, this is a team you keep waiting for them to figure it all out. And then you, of course, come and watch them over the last 4 games. I mean, give up 7+ runs each of the last 4. I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers look like they were taking batting practice yesterday. And I think there are some real concerns about this pitching rotation and exactly what they're going to be able to get out of them down the stretch. I mean, Chris Sale has been a breath of fresh air, still has a chance to win the Cy Young Award. And I think coming into the year, if you told the Braves that Chris Sale had to be their best pitcher, it wasn't going to spell the perfect recipe for them to be successful. You look at how they're tweaking the rotation already, you know, going forward with Fernando Lopez being dinged up and Spencer Schwellenbach starting to get towards an innings limit. I'm just not sure on a night-in, night-out basis the Braves can cobble together 27 outs, and I think that's a big problem, knowing that the offense hasn't been able to carry them like we've seen in the past.
Hey, Fuhrman, back to the West. I would assume the Dodgers were probably -8, -900 to win that division. You mentioned the Padres. Diamondbacks also playing great baseball. If the Padres or the D-backs were to win the West, what would that do for books out there?
Would change the dynamic a little bit, but when you mention the price there, I mean, the Dodgers got out to upwards of 1 to 12 favorites. So put up $1,200 to make $100 coming back. And when you get price tags like that, it discourages people from getting into the market. The shops that I've spoken to, LT, haven't taken a ton of money on the Padres or Diamondbacks at those outrageous numbers. Now, I haven't really been in communication with them over the last couple weeks as the prices have come down. And as we look at the National League West, the Dodgers still prohibitive favorites with an implied probability more than 75% in that -$4 range. Padres, the second favorite at right around 4.25. The Diamondbacks, for me, are the team that continues to get disrespected in the betting market on a variety of fronts. I mean, I think 8-1 is a tremendous price. Mentioned the Padres getting their rotation healthy. It's all signs point to the D-backs getting Merrill Kelly back in the fold. And this is a team, how quickly we forget, that represented the National League last year in the Fall Classic before coming up short. So if I was looking to make a case for a team to come from off the pace, I'd be much more inclined to bet the D-backs at 8-1 to win the NL West than I would the Padres at half that number.
As our buddy Royal Payne says over in the mybookie.ag chat room, he says Fuhrman's conference previews, college football conference previews at Bet the Board podcast with Brad Powers is a must listen to. You can go check that out. I'm interested on the C.J. Baxter injury, on if that changed your thoughts on Texas as a national championship contender.
It doesn't change my thoughts from a top-line standpoint, but it does raise a little bit of concern when Texas starts to figure out what life in the SEC is like compared to going through the Big 12 like they've done for the last 15 to 20 seasons. Jaden Blue is more than capable of being a lead number 1 back, but how much will they have to spell him early on in the season before Texas's schedule gets a little bit more difficult when they get into the heart of conference play? We'll, of course, get a great litmus test for where this Longhorns team is the second week of the season, where they're slightly more than a field goal favorite on the road, at least the numbers now, to take on the defending national champion in Michigan. And I've always had some reservations about Quinn Ewers. He can look like the greatest thing since sliced bread when he's given time in the pocket, but this is a Texas team that I'm a little bit down on. Full disclosure, still haven't power rated inside my top 5, but I wouldn't be running to bet them over their win total at 10.5, knowing that there are a couple of very tricky landmines on their schedule that Texas is going to have to navigate through with a much bigger target on their back this year than what they've seen in the past in terms of facing capable competition.
Fuhrman, fun basketball game yesterday between the U.S. and the Serbia team. U.S. goes off at 16.5. What kind of market right now is there out in Vegas to bet on these games and just the Olympics overall?
Very nominal, a little bit more of a novelty than anything else, even for the high-profile nature of Olympic basketball. When you see numbers of this price tag, discourages a lot of even recreational bettors from getting involved. Now, the gold medal dynamic, a little bit different when we talk about some of the star power that'll be on display, not just from Team USA, but of course Victor Wembanyama. We'll see if Rudy Gobert is able to log some minutes, but a rematch of the gold medal game that we saw in Tokyo. And when you look at the numbers here, Team USA actually opened a shorter favorite than where the market currently sits, 14.5 out to 16. You've seen the total tick down a touch, and you can understand why. Anyone who's watched this French team knows they're a little limited at guard, and if the French are going to have a chance, it's going to be the way they defend the paint and try and turn this thing into a bit of a rock fight. What may surprise some folks, though, is the dominance on the women's side. We've seen money come in on Australia for the match scheduled to tip off in about 20 minutes. That number 17.5, 18 on the open. We're now down to 15, 15.5. And while I won't say it's as close as the men's matchup against Serbia, the line movement is showing a similar trajectory to what we saw with Serbia taking money about a half hour to 45 minutes before tip-off yesterday.
Zach wants me to ask about your NASCAR league. So you can comment about that. I think, are we in Richmond this week in NASCAR? I mean, that's an easy Denny Hamlin play for me. I don't know about you.
You know, Dunaway, you say it with such disdain, this NASCAR league, as if I'm the only one in the state of Alabama that follows the sport in any capacity. But when you talk about going to Virginia, you are right. So I'm glad you've done your homework that Denny Hamlin will be amongst the drivers to beat. Price tags right around that 4.5 to 1, along with his teammates in Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. As far as the outright numbers, took a little bit of a long shot price on Ryan Blaney. I know this track hasn't been his best, but when you look at the way Team Penske has performed on short, flat tracks in the past, 25 to 1 pre-week was a little too difficult to pass up, and have a little bit of matchup exposure as well on Joey Logano in his head-to-head against Chase Elliott. And, of course, our best bet for those folks so inclined, they can listen to the Stay Green podcast and get all of that information on all the Bet the Board channels.
Fuhrman, what is your take on Justin Fields starting for Pittsburgh in that Texans-Steelers game?
I feel for this question I should get my better half. I mean, she lives and breathes Pittsburgh Steelers football, so I can't imagine what it'll be like in the fall when we see the options become Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Look, if Russell Wilson's leg injury becomes a bigger problem, then I think Fields has a chance. But my feeling is that they're going to do everything they can to give the veteran the starting nod. But given Arthur Smith's background with some mobile quarterbacks in the past, I think they're going to have some packages installed for Justin Fields. And quite frankly, if you're looking at the Steelers, and not just this year but beyond, they would probably love to see Justin Fields exceed their expectations, potentially be their quarterback of the future. Of course, the biggest storyline that all Steelers fans are following, will they be able to add one of the best weapons in the league at wide receiver to pair Brandon Ayuk up with George Pickens going forward? Otherwise, they're a little bit thin at receiver. I'm not sure they want to go into the season with Van Jefferson as their bona fide number 2.
All right, Fuhrman, before you go, though, it's a full weekend. So all the other teams are playing that did not play Hall of Fame game weekend, and even have some that are doubling back now. So give me one other storyline you're looking at in this opening weekend, something you want to see, or maybe a good play out there for those that are watching us.
No, I think anyone who, you mentioned the Hall of Fame weekend, it'll be interesting to see Caleb Williams and what the Bears want to show in terms of how that offense is going to look in Saturday's preseason game. Sean McDermott saying that the Bills are going to play their starters for a quarter, so that'll add a little bit of intrigue. When we look at preseason trends, the Baltimore Ravens have been one of those ATM juggernauts, but you go through the depth chart that Coach Harbaugh has now, and you can understand why the Philadelphia Eagles have taken substantial money in the market, with the Ravens being a 3-point favorite, Philly moving out to a 2.5-point favorite, and a little bit of buyback from the betting public today. But I also think the quarterback battle that we're going to see in Cleveland adds a little bit of intrigue. Not for that starting job necessarily, where Deshaun Watson, unless he completely flounders, will have it, but what that depth chart will be behind him, knowing that Dorian Thompson-Robinson didn't excel last year. You have Jameis Winston that was brought in, most likely to be the backup, and Tyler Huntley, brought over from a division rival. in the Baltimore Ravens. So I think the Cleveland Browns quarterback room should be interesting, and you can understand why we're seeing some money there against the Packers from that number going from 2.5 out to 4, and I think it'll quite frankly climb a little bit higher before kickoff tomorrow afternoon.
In our next segment, Fuhrman, we do something every year. When it was a 12-team NFL playoff, I had to pick 8 teams that had to make the playoffs. All 8 had to make them for me to win the bet with LT. Now that it's 14, I got to get 9 of 14 right. I have never won this bet.
Are you shocked, Fuhrman?
I've never won this bet.
I'm not shocked at all, LT, but the fact you're making him try and get 9 out of 14, I figured Dunaway landing 7 of them would be a moral victory for him in some capacity.
There's always one that doesn't even come close. But I'm doing that next segment. I will text you my 9 teams. You tell me which one I'm going to miss, okay?
I am all ears, and remember, Dunaway, we always, or not, shouldn't say always, but we typically see a team go from worst to first. So make sure you have one of those teams there, and while everyone's favorite pick in that department is the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe there is a team flying under the radar that can surprise some folks. You got to live dangerously here, not quite as dangerously as hitting 8% of your first-round ATS picks in the NCAA tournament, but pretty damn close.
The graphic's already been built. I'm not sure I have a worst to first in there, though, but I'm pretty chalky when I do this, so that's not good in the NFL.
Shocking, LT. He can't win when he's picking all chalk in the NFL. Who would have figured?
Yeah, right.
They only turn the playoffs over about 50% every year. He's Todd Fuhrman, Bet the Board podcast. Those college football conference previews are a must listen to at the Bet the Board podcast family with our buddy Fuhrman, live from Las Vegas. Thank you, Fuhrman, for being with us, okay?
Always a pleasure, guys and girls. Enjoy your Friday and have a great weekend.
Yeah, JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline right there with Todd Fuhrman. Show being brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club.
Our friends at Inverness want to remind you they've got memberships that will fit absolutely everyone, from the social membership, including the resort-style pool complex, full-service cabana and bar, live music on Friday nights, Sunday brunch, the golf membership, beautiful course out there, currently expanding the driving range. Maybe you travel for work or pleasure. Ask about the Heritage Plus option, where you have access to courses at 37 other clubs around the country. If you relocated to retired, Inverness, great place to network. Childcare, also a big plus. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid and go have yourself a day on the court or course. Best days happen at Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
Okay, the rest of this segment, I'm going to do a little this or that, okay? So Rockstar, give me Forrester and Tyler and your mics as well. I want to just run through. I got 8, 9, 10 of the this or that's. And
these are so fun.
To get the weekend ready to go. Usually it's an intern's job, but I banged them out this weekend. A little non-sports here for you. I don't know how you guys are. We keep it. I went to saw my mom and dad. A side story before we start with this. Before I went on vacation, I went and spent 4 or 5 hours with my mom and dad. I don't go there enough. And the house I grew up in is where they live, is my grandparents' house, and they still live there in Alabaster. Did not have central air when I lived in that house. They've since somewhere along the way got central air. In my house, Maggie keeps the thermostat at 68 constantly, 66 when we sleep. It's kicking. I walked into the house expecting it to be hot, my parents' house. I didn't even know we'd had central air put in there. So I'm sitting there, and it's cooler than I expected, but I walked to the bathroom past the thermostat. They had it set on 79.
Oh.
79, but it was still cooler than I remember the house being when we just had box fans going, but 79.
Different generation back then.
Yeah.
I told the story of my great Aunt Frances that would make Kool-Aid with the sweet and low. And it tasted like rat poison. And she'd put aluminum foil over the pitcher. And then when it was done, she would recycle the aluminum foil.
Oh.
And she had money.
Well, I mean, save where you can. That's probably why she's got the money.
That's why she's got the money. Exactly right. So I bring up the air conditioning because my first question is, in our house, it's always cold. So which do you prefer? Comfortable PJs or, like whatever you wear around the house, or a comfortable blanket? Comfortable PJs or, whatever, lounging pants, whatever a guy would wear, or a comfortable blanket? E.g.?
I'm going to go blanket.
You like a comfy blanket?
Yeah, blanket.
When you're laid up on the couch watching TV, you like the blanket best?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a Vizsla.
Yeah. Or the Vizsla keeps you warm. I like comfortable PJs. They're not technically PJs, but they're joggers, I guess, with a sweatshirt on. That's what I'm a fan of. Rockstar, is it even cold in your house?
Yes. No, not now. But what I always do is I've never been a guy that puts on like comfortable. I'm comfortable in my clothes. Like I'll just sit on the couch like this. I don't like run home and take off my shoes and put on like sweatpants or something like that.
Oh, that's the first thing I do.
I don't do that.
That's like Jack will watch a movie in his shoes. I'm like, get comfortable.
Yeah, that's comfortable to me. It's
Yeah,
weird.
once
Like,
I
I've
know
never
I'm
been
not
like that.
going out again, I've got a wardrobe change at that point. I'm into comfortable either basketball shorts or big baggy pants. Forster?
I'm neither. I don't do blankets. My girls keep them all anyway. And
What's your thermostat at, Scott?
It is currently set at 75.
Oh, are you kidding?
Are you kidding? Whose choice is that in the house?
That's not mine.
It's not yours.
It's Forster. This is like, I don't know if you saw Daddy's Home 2, another guilty pleasure. But the little girl, Mark Wahlberg's stepdaughter, is the one that controls the AC. And Mel Gibson tells him early on, you got to get control of the situation.
It's rough. 75.
It's all about keeping the power bill down as much as we can.
I always wonder who's in control of their house less, me or Forster.
It's you, definitely.
Okay. Tyler, do you when you get home, is it comfortable clothes, PJ-like stuff, or blanket for you?
I usually do shorts and a t-shirt, and then I keep the thermostat low enough where I'm comfortable with a blanket.
Comfortable with a blanket, yeah. Okay, so either fruits or vegetables the rest of your life.
Fruits
done. You can't have the other.
Yeah, fruits.
All fruits?
Oh, I'm going vegetables.
Vegetables.
Yep.
Because you occasionally order a vegetable plate, no meat. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I would go vegetables too, though I love fruit.
Yeah, but when you order a vegetable plate, it's like mac and cheese and mashed potatoes.
No, like butter beans, rutabagas, that kind of thing. Yeah.
What the hell's a rutabaga?
It's like a sweet potato and a squash, and
that
it's
sounds
like
good.
combined. It's good.
So a squash and a
Sweet
sweet
potato.
potato had a baby.
Yeah.
And it's a
It's good.
rutabaga.
Rutabaga.
So you already said fruits. Fruits or veggies. The rest of your life can't have the other.
No, I'm all about some fried okra.
Yeah.
But that's about it for vegetables. I'm fruit all the way.
Tyler?
Veggies. I'm with EG. I usually order a veggie plate at the meat and three.
My mind is blown. Would you ever have Tyler as a vegetable guy?
Yeah, but I think he goes back. Like I've ordered a veggie plate a lot, but it consists of a lot of starch.
Yeah.
You go to the movies. You either can get popcorn or something sweet. Popcorn or something sweet.
The Meltdown knows this. I am popcorn all the way. I go to the movies not to watch a movie, but to get popcorn and leave.
Yeah, I love popcorns at the movie, but I also like the sweets there. I need the mix.
Yeah, I'd prefer the mix, but I would go popcorn.
Yeah, I'm popcorn if I got to choose.
Can't tell you the last time I had a sweet. It's always popcorn.
Always popcorn. Back row?
Yeah, definitely popcorn. Don't really do much candy.
Tyler?
Neither. I went with pizza last night.
At the movies?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got mozzarella sticks and fries and
crap. I gotta go back to the
milkshakes and
movies.
churros and everything
You can
else.
tell
The
there's
churros.
a bunch of culinary gods back behind that counter controlling that food.
Day at the ballpark, baseball park, or day at a human park? Picnicking, throwing frisbees.
Oh, baseball game.
Walking around, whatever. Baseball?
Yeah, easy.
Baseball?
Yeah.
You like baseball?
Can it be home?
Yeah.
I'll do baseball.
Baseball, Forster?
I live at ballparks.
You live at ballparks, Tyler?
What was it, ballpark or what else?
A human park. You just go to the park, throw frisbees, picnic, whatever you do at a human park.
Stare at people.
Stare at
I guess
people.
human part.
Yeah, non-baseball. Burgers or Mexican food? You got to have one or the other the rest of your life. You.
Mexican food.
Mexican food.
Mexican.
Easy.
Yeah, Mexican food
Mexican
for me.
food.
Yeah, me too. Forster?
That's hard. Probably my two favorite foods, but I'll go Mexican.
God, I love Mexican food.
I'll make it unanimous and go Mexican food.
Yeah. What is it? Is it the salsa and chips that gets
Oh,
it started
yeah.
right? I love that
Little
stuff.
queso.
Yeah. Win an Olympic medal or win American Idol?
Oh, Olympic medal.
Olympic medal.
Olympic medal now, 15 years ago, Idol.
I would just like to be able to win American Idol, not for the money or anything, but
You would stay anonymous.
just because I could sing. You know, I crave to be able to sing. Floribama Lounge coming up with this guy in a second. What about you?
It would be a medal. I mean, I don't know what event. You said Winter Olympic?
No, just any Olympic medal.
Yeah, medal, because you can't name one of the last 10 American Idol people. If I had pictures of them, you wouldn't be able to find them.
Yeah. What about you, Forrester?
Olympic medal for sure.
Tyler?
Olympic medal.
Boy, I'm the only one that wants to be able to sing. Are you guys good singers and I don't even know it?
They're badass.
Yeah. Skip that one because people say I make it awkward.
Say it now.
Right, so is this?
Do it.
Yeah, please say it. This is going to be. Let's just
show.
Picture him as Joe Buck, and this is going to Artie Lang.
Okay.
And how would he answer this?
Oh my God, that was brutal.
First date or just random kiss? We're all in committed relationships now, I know, but back when you were single, the first date or just random kiss?
This is as awkward as Joe Buck and Artie Lang now.
E.G.?
Why do I have to go first?
Well, it was just random.
It's all you've been first every time.
First date.
First date?
Whatever.
Yeah, random kiss for me always. I hated first date.
First date.
First date. Forrester?
I'll go random kiss.
Yeah, Tyler?
First date.
First date, random kiss.
Looks like Dunaway and Forrester are kissing.
Better score if you had to take the law exam.
You need to save these next time you interview Nick Saban.
Last one. Better score on if you had to take a law exam final or medical exam final.
Law all day.
Law all day.
Yeah.
Law.
You say that easily because you watched enough TV shows?
Yeah, I think that would be, I think I could at least get like a 25-30. We got too much biology coming in.
Yeah, that was my chosen career path before this.
Yeah, I think I could do law too. You?
Law. It's in my family, but I don't get to do it.
Yeah, it's in your family, but you didn't get to do it.
I'm the musician.
Forrester, you think you could score better on the law exam or the bar exam or the medical exam?
Well, if you've seen either one of my appearances on Meltdown Triple Threat Trivia, you know I'm screwed either way. But I'll go the bar.
The bar. Okay, what about you, Tyler?
I will also go the bar.
See, I think American television and movies make us think we know so much about the law.
Yeah.
And maybe we do. Maybe we do. That's a little this or that today. Show being brought to you by our buddy Greg Nelson and Storm Restoration Roofing. We'll make some NFL playoff picks. LT will tell you which of the 9 I got wrong on the other side, and more college football coming up. Storm Restoration Roofing. Never go wrong with these guys. They'll get on your roof, Greg Nelson will, and give you a free no-cost roof inspection. A free no-cost roof inspection. That's what he'll do. You call up that number, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or look him up on Facebook. He's Greg from Pell City there. 20 years locally owned, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. The best thing he offers you is that he is so trusted by local insurance agents. It's going to help you with your claim. Just works that way. Free no-cost roof inspection from Greg, but he also handles storm repairs and roof replacements. Get it all started with that phone call, 205-542-3531, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new Chicken Bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you, 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Okay, Forrester's got the graphic. We'll do the pick here in a second. But the mybookie.ag chat room was saying the Meltdown did a question. I think LT has asked this question before on the show. If we lose all the pilots on a plane and somebody on the show has to, maybe it was little T on one of our morning videos, had to land the plane, which person would be able to land the plane we would trust to get the show down on the ground? I said you.
I don't think any.
I said you, though, in the commercial break.
I think there is no doubt about it. We're crashing. I don't like to fly, so I'm not going to be good in that situation.
I think Forrester, but you see the videos online of people that have to take over the plane and they're directed. I think Forrester could do it.
Okay, you go Forrester. I go Lance because he's a survivor. And I just think he'd fight like hell not to die.
I think I might tap out. I don't know. You never. Well, no. I mean, you just don't know in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been in the cockpit and looked at all the instruments?
Yeah. No, there's a ton.
Yeah. Like if it was just whatever this is, if it was just that, I would still be like overwhelmed and panicked.
I'd like to think that I could take the instruction in that situation.
So let me ask you this. If you had like the most experienced pilot in the world and he was sitting next to you and he's like, okay, take this over.
Oh, yeah.
You think you'd land it?
Yeah, if he was next to me. I'd feel more confident.
See, I mean, just that. I mean, it's all automatic pilot until you start the descent, right?
I've had some bad landings with guys that get paid for a living to do it.
And do it like 8 or 9 times a day, right?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
And sometimes it's boom, it hits like that. A lot of people were saying Brown in the chat room.
Yeah, I could see Brown.
I would be Lunceford. It's got to be Lunceford.
Yeah, it's got to be Lunceford. Says
he could understand instruments.
Yeah. Does Lunceford feel comfortable enough?
Yes, he does.
I hope not.
Lunceford, are you? If we're on a plane, do you feel like you could land the plane?
Absolutely.
I like the confidence.
I do too.
I mean, we can send you up to Shelby County Airport with somebody that's got a death wish.
Yeah.
And let's just see if you can land it.
Bracket challenge.
Do we have an insurance policy on Lunceford?
Bracket challenge next year. Lunceford lands the plane with the loser.
No. I'm out.
The show being brought to you by our friend Brad Bell and the folks at A+ Tile Home Remodeling. Specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. If you're tired of that old, outdated bath or shower, he's gone into Brown's house. He's gone into LT's house. He's done the remodeling project. Brad came out and gave these guys an estimate so much lower than the other folks. Brad's estimate is actually less expensive and higher quality than those other places you hear about in other venues, and whether it's online or other traditional media areas. A+ is that good. You just loved what Brad was able to do at your house, right?
Yeah, Brad came out, did the bathroom over a year ago, just finished the kitchen about a month ago. So yeah, just fabulous work. Our friend Jim at New York Butcher Shop's getting some things done at his house through the guys at A+. They do a fantastic job.
205-422-1758. That's his personal cell number. You get the direct straight line to Brad, 205-422-1758. He and his team serving Huntsville and Mobile, as well as our friends with A+ Tile and Home Remodeling. All right. This is the first time you've been here, this part of the year. Like you weren't even here for the kickoff party, which is next Thursday night at Walk-Ons, Stadium Trace.
Very excited to
You
attend.
came right after that last year.
Yeah, I came September, whatever the Tuesday was after Labor Day. So I'm coming up on a year here.
Coming up on a year. So you have not experienced me losing this bet every year.
No, I'm excited.
Where do I go wrong on picking the playoff teams, LT? Because
well, look, you
I
got
can't
7 per conference, and the problem is it is almost dead on historically. 7 teams that make the playoff, half the field don't make it the next year.
All right.
So the tough thing is looking at what was done last year and then not foreseeing some of those teams doing the same thing.
And that's what's so hard is that I look at teams, they were playoff teams last year, and I'm like, it's not like college where half the team graduates, right? I'm like, well, all the guys are back. I think they're gonna be good. We'll do these one at a time. I got to get 9 of the 14 right. Dunaway's annual NFL playoff bet. First team I'm locking in is Browns-Dolphins.
Wow.
I think they're a playoff team. Now, precarious is Tua Tagovailoa there, right? That one injury could sideswipe this, and he's got an injury history. How do you feel about Miami?
I think I would lock the Dolphins in. They'd be right there. I'm trying to do mine like on the fly, but yeah, I mean, if he gets hurt, you're done. But you could say that about a lot of starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay, you feel good about the Dolphins being a playoff team?
Listen, when it comes to NFL, I think someone said that I watch spring training games like Lance watches preseason NFL and Brown. I have to agree with that. So I'm not going to put any input on this. I'm going to trust the experts here.
Okay, well, I'm not the expert, but I am playing one on TV today. My second team I'm locking in. Feel really, really good about the Baltimore Ravens as a playoff team.
Yeah, so I've got 4 that I would have locked in. I'm taking the Dolphins back. The Ravens would be one of the 4 that I would absolutely lock in 100%. The Ravens, obviously, in action. They had won, I think, 25 consecutive games, preseason games under John Harbaugh. They've lost their last 2. They've got the Eagles tonight. Lamar will not play.
Richard says if Brown is listening right now, which he's not, I'm sure, but if Brown is listening right now, he's pissed that I picked the Dolphins. Listen, Brown doesn't believe in jinxes or anything like that. He doesn't buy into me landmining his Dolphins. Now, Jace and his Ravens may be a different story. I may have just pissed him off. Let's go to the third team I'm locking in. Got to get 9 right. Can't miss one. They've all got to be playoff teams. The third team locked in, the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't have the playoffs without the Chiefs.
Well,
right?
I mean, look, they're going for a three-peat. So you've got Pat Mahomes, arguably the best quarterback on the planet, maybe the best quarterback since Tom Brady. And so, yeah, I think you got to look. And you also look at the AFC West right now. Like, you don't believe in Denver. You don't believe in the Raiders. And right now, you've got an injury with Justin Herbert, and they won 5 games last year.
Yeah, AK, I've given up on the Dolphins, a fun offense, but can't win the big games. There from AK. So my first column there, you say the Dolphins is the most precarious, right?
I would say yes.
Okay. Next column, here's the first team. In the second column, got to get all 9 right. I've got the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of off-season talk about contracts, but these guys are going to be on the field. Micah, CD, and Dak. They may not be there next year, but they're going to be there this year. This seems like a playoff team to me.
Well, you say CD is going to be on the field. I don't know if he will be, especially with after the comments from Jerry Jones saying there's no urgency to get this deal done. And then he just tweets out an LOL, and then Micah Parsons backs it up with another LOL. CeeDee Lamb, to me, is the only true playmaker on that offense. And I think without CeeDee Lamb, and this is the last thing Dak wants, because Dak is playing for, he's playing for one of maybe the biggest contract in NFL history. And if he doesn't have his playmaker out there, I don't know. I don't trust the Dallas organization at all. The East is always weird. We have a different champion each and every year. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders won the NFC East.
Landmine believer. Cowboys are not going to be good, in my opinion. We'll see if they're another NFC East team like the Commanders coming up. Our next team to unveil here, I've got 9 teams. All have to make the playoffs. Those are 4. The 5th team, the Detroit Lions.
They would have been one of my first 4 or 5 I would have locked in. The North is going to be better this year. Green Bay, the way they played in the second half with Jordan Love, one of the reasons he got the huge contract. Minnesota, they're going to drop off a little bit with Kirk Cousins, but I think J.J. McCarthy, ultimately Sam Darnold might be the starter to begin, but ultimately it will be McCarthy's team. And then I think the Bears, winning 7 games last year with not great quarterback play, I think Caleb Williams is going to be really good. But I do think Detroit is better than those other 3 teams. So by that, I think they win the North again and think they're in the postseason.
Troy says Lions Chiefs Super Bowl, book it in his department over there. My 6th team, this was the last one I was easy lock-in territory for me. At number 6.
49ers.
the San Francisco 49ers. Do you have them not making the playoffs? So that's got to be an easy pick, right?
Yeah, I think it's an easy pick. With Ayuk, without Ayuk, without Trent Williams, I still think San Francisco has so many elite parts, and they've got such good coaching with Kyle Shanahan. I think San Francisco, I would be shocked unless you had just an array of different injuries. Yeah. San Fran's making the postseason.
So here we go. Those are 6. Now these next 3 are we have to get creative, I think. So here we go. First one up. I thought this was an easy pick here, coming back with a healthy quarterback now, the Cincinnati Bengals.
It all depends. If Burrow gets hurt, then he is going to be labeled as injury-plagued. I mean, he's already missed significant time in 2 different seasons. Yeah. So, I think he's great. I think if Burrow plays a full 17, I don't think there's any way they miss the postseason, as difficult as that division is. I just don't know if he's going to be healthy. So that's the only thing that would give me a little hesitation.
My 8th team, again, all 9 have to make the playoffs for me to win the bet. Number 8, the Green Bay Packers.
I would have the Packers locked in. Look, there's a lot of pressure on Jordan Love, but I think the Packers have done a really good job putting together young receivers with Love. Love was playing with a ton of confidence last year. After you give him $55 million a year, if you miss the postseason, that's bad. So I would agree. I think Green Bay's in.
So here's the problem. AFC South, NFC South, I've got no teams from that division right now. And those divisions seem to be topsy-turvy all the time.
Yeah, there is one team from one of those divisions I would lock in. I wouldn't feel great about it because they are, it's a crazy situation year in and year out, especially in the AFC South.
Yeah, and the AFC South, I didn't go there because it seems like the Texans would be the pick, but, it's second go-around for C.J. Stroud. They've got so much talent. I felt like that was a trap waiting on me. I went with this team right here, number 9.
The Atlanta Falcons.
You nailed it. It's the Atlanta Falcons at number 9.
Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, they paid Kirk Cousins a ton of money in the offseason. Somebody's got to win that division. I just don't see Tampa doing what they did last year with Baker Mayfield. Bryce Young might be better, but even better is still a bad team. And then the Saints, I think they're going to be average this year. I think the Falcons are the team to beat.
So give me that full screen one more time before we hang it in the Louvre. All 9 of those teams have to make the playoffs for me to win the bet. I feel like that's my best job yet, LT, on trying to get this right. If you had to pick one team I end up losing it on, it'll
be the Dolphins or the Cowboys.
Dolphins or the Cowboys?
I think your top row, Dolphins, Cowboys, Bengals.
That is that's...
I'm glad you didn't play the Rams. I feel really good about the Rams making the playoffs.
I didn't play the Rams.
I just trust Sean McVay.
Mainly because I don't want to piss you off. But no, it was serious. It was because of Matt Stafford's health.
Well, I mean, you can rely on him more than you can Burrow, Tua.
Yeah.
Probably stop
Kirk
there.
Cousins, he had an Achilles last year, didn't he?
Was it last year? Maybe it was. Yeah, it was.
Isn't he coming off of that?
Yep.
Keith says, who that? Rams are a lock. LT says Morgan. Troy says, breaking news, Mercedes-Benz Stadium just fell down on the pick there.
You have a vendetta against Atlanta today, Dunaway.
He really does.
Yeah.
No,
Georgia's playing for the national championship.
Right.
Braves are a lock for the postseason.
For sure.
Fualcons. Yeah. Atlanta sports fans are not happy with this Friday's show.
Thank you, Dunaway.
Send me that graphic, Forrester, so that I can send it to Fuhrman and let him tell me where I got that wrong. Got to get 9 right. NFL playoffs are so hard to project. As LT says, I think that number comes in a little over 50% every year on the changeover, closer to 60% than it is to 50%. It's a crazy number of NFL topsy-turvy changeover there. When we come back, a little bit more college football, and then a lot more in our final hour, including the old Floribama Lounge with Rockstar still to come today. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemphill. They bring you Lance's Lock every day. NFL playoff action today. Triple header on the NFL Network Saturday. Triple header on the NFL Network Sunday. It's a big weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. If you have any of those issues in your home or business, our friends at Hemphill Services can help you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter @ScottForesterTV.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the next round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, that heat index has been triple digits all week long. If you're on a golf visit this weekend or out playing golf or out doing anything, maybe it's time to head back to school and you're drained going into the weekend. Our friends at HydroLife can get you ready, LT. HydroLife, I tell you this all the time when I'm talking about HydroLife, membership is the way to go. You get a lot of extra services there at a special price at HydroLife. Great place to check out. Stay on top of your game as a parent this year, right?
Yeah, well, look, inquire about memberships. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Save up to 50% off regular pricing for all your services. Plus, receive 1 free IV bag per month with the impressive savings and benefits members receive. You recoup that IV membership fee in just 1 visit. 2 locations in Birmingham, Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Also a location in Tuscaloosa. They're open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You're getting ready for the weekend. Stay hydrated. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. Make sure you mention the Next Round when you're in one of these locations of HydroLife Therapy. You're going to get 20% off any of those great services. For more information, hydrolifetherapy.com.
Yesterday, EG was down on campus at Auburn, gets a chance to talk to Derek Nix about Peyton Thorne's progress. Listen in.
Where do you feel like Peyton has shown the most improvement from spring until now?
He's got a quiet confidence about himself. He's operating the offense at a high level. He understands from what Coach Austin is trying to teach him. He's been able to execute that on the field. just totally confident. He seems at ease in everything. Being able to check protections, get us into the right runs. I mean, it's just a different sense of urgency about himself right now.
You get the same sense when you're hanging around Peyton?
Yeah, I think so. We haven't seen much of him from a media perspective. He hasn't sat down as far as I know, but on the field, he does look confident. And that's what I'm looking for on Saturday, to see that in action and also see the connection he has with those young receivers.
You know, when we were in Auburn and we were talking to Peyton, and I think that was back in March maybe, when we were at the complex, late February, early March, something like that. And I brought up TCU. You know, in Sonny Dykes' first year at TCU, out of nowhere, that's a team that not only went to the college football playoff, they played for a national championship. And he said, you know what, our guys have kind of talked about that a little bit. You know, if I took you back to 2021 when he had more talent around him, and you brought this up yesterday, he had NFL-like receivers. If you're an Auburn fan, would you take 3,200 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you take that right now. I mean, basically your interceptions stay the same. You'd like to clean that up a little bit. Your touchdowns go up 11, though, and your yards basically double.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the kind of potential he's got with the right, you know, skill set around him. Now, a lot of that Kenneth Walker took so much pressure off him in the backfield, but Peyton Thorne just you know, the limited access we've had to him, and I think you've been around him a little bit more, he is very confident.
No, he is. And I think, too, what's helping him is how the staff is gelling around him, specifically with Coach Nixon, Coach Freeze. I think that was lacking last season. It's no secret. And that's rubbing off on him, which is a good thing.
And for your more Auburn coverage, including more Auburn shows this football season, but also behind-the-scenes insider information that you get going into a big scrimmage weekend. You get that at our new site that we launched yesterday, thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Be a part of the Barn chat rooms over there, some exclusive content over there, new shows. Zach and Kyle, you're going to love Kyle's enthusiasm and what he brings to the table over there. And a whole host of folks, Brad Law still over there, Village Vice, and everything happening at thebarnauburn.com. $1 sign-up fee is all you have to do. $1 sign-up fee to get all the content right now. Thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Alabama getting ready for a big scrimmage as well. Tim Keenan, one of the big Bama defensive linemen, had a chance this week to talk to EG and the gang about going up against the Alabama offensive line in this scrimmage, in this preseason. Here's Big Tim.
It's very technical, very sound. They like to communicate. They're going to communicate. And if you don't got your eyes in the right, you know, at the right key, you're going to get knocked off your top, or you're going to get knocked off your spot. So just as far as, you know, going against Book, especially that interior three, Book, Parker, and Big Jaden, is always a good battle. But when we go, especially if you get some hands not in the right place, it always gets pretty fun in there.
Yeah, I'll start with you, LT. First of all, on Parker Brailsford, you heard him mention Parker there at center. You tabbed this guy as a preseason All-American. He missed some of spring for an off-the-field issue. He's back 100%, and he's one of the reasons a lot of the country's talking about this offensive line.
Well, I think he was the most important, and Jeremy Bernard could end up being this guy, the most important player that Kalen DeBoer brought over with him. If you watch their offensive line, you know, the experts breaking it down said it was one of the best offensive lines in all of football, and it really started with Parker Brailsford. And pound for pound, maybe the strongest guy on the team. This offensive line is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think you also have that leadership element in Tyler Booker. You get Caden Proctor back, too. I know that there's some fight for him to get back into that left tackle spot, but you have an offensive line that's experienced in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and a defensive line with Tim Keenan, I want to see what they do. This isn't the Jonathan Allen defensive lines we saw a few years ago, like in 2019, 2018, those years. This is a different defensive line. I don't know if there's a future guaranteed NFL star on that line.
Yeah, I don't either. And, you know, more so not even the interior, because I think Keenan really played well down the stretch last year. But do you have that edge guy? We've talked about that over and over again. You just get a feeling that you're not going to have one of these lights-out defenses, that Alabama's going to win games in the 30s this year.
Unbelievable content right now from Clint, Mick Gillespie, and the gang over at covercrimson.com. Covercrimson.com. Again, $1 sign-up fee over there, and then I think it's $9.99 a month after that. You can buy a premium membership, a year membership there to jump in and enjoy all the content over there, insight on what they're looking for.
Everybody's got a buck. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think Wendy's doesn't even have the $1 menu anymore, right? You can't get anything for $1.
I think you get $1 Frosty right now, a special going on this month.
But we don't, there's no tax. So, like, we're actually literally at $1.
Yeah, $1.
Like, it might be the best value out there right now.
$1. Sign up and see what you think about it. Covercrimson.com. Covercrimson.com. Go and check that out and enjoy the message boards, chatting with other Alabama and Auburn fans, and also the content from Clint Lamb, who's part of our family now, and everyone else he's put together, and some more shows that'll be announced on those two platforms as we get closer and closer to kickoff. There was somebody out in Dallas. It was T-Bob Bear. Rockstar Give Me Cut 4. T-Bob Bear called this guy maybe the best player in college football. He was talking about offensive lineman Will Campbell when he joined us. And he's sort of laying down the gauntlet of what LSU should be this year. And I want your reaction, LT, on what he says LSU should be this year. Here's Will Campbell.
This offseason, you know, we had probably one of our best off seasons we've had since I've been here, just from a, you know, work standpoint, pushing ourselves, guys pushing each other, competing every day. And, you know, everybody here wants to win. I mean, it's year 3. It's time for us to do something instead of just winning 10 games. I mean, 10 games is cool with other schools, not here. 10 games gets people fired, people replaced. So it's time for us to do something a little different and, you know, win a national championship.
10 games gets people fired.
Well, if
in the past, yeah, probably.
If they were 9-3 at the end of the season, like they were last year, and then they win a bowl game, and he's 10-3, I think Brian Kelly is going to find himself on a semi-hot seat going into 2025. I agree with Will Campbell. It is time that they turn this thing around. I mean, they won a national championship in 2019. They just played for the SEC championship 2 years ago. But Brian Kelly was getting into the postseason with Notre Dame talent. He's got more talent now in Baton Rouge. This offensive line only gave up 22 sacks last year. And to put that in perspective, Jalen Milroe was sacked 42 times. Now, a lot of that was Jaden Daniels was just a generational quarterback where you really couldn't get your hands on him. And that's kind of the problem for me. LSU's defense is going to be better. But not only Jaden Daniels going on to the Commanders, Mike Denbrock goes back to South Bend, so you've got new play caller coming in. I trust Brian Kelly. I don't know. I think it's 9 or 10 wins, and I think it's a massive difference. It's either, you know, whatever that swing game is whether you stay home from the postseason or you actually go to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I've been high on LSU though. They have come up as one of my under the radar teams the last few weeks. Like that offensive line that you talk about, you're bringing back 4 out of the 5 starters. Will Campbell, but you also have Emory Jones. There's a lot of potential there. Brian Kelly, it starts with winning that first game on the road. He has not won, or has he not won an opener?
It's an opener.
It's an opener.
6 straight years?
It's something.
Well, I think it's LSU. No, not 6. Maybe it's 3 or 4.
Since he's been at LSU, for sure.
It goes back to at least that UCLA road loss.
Yeah, so I think it might be 3. So maybe Orgeron's final year and then the first 2 years of Kelly because he lost back-to-back against Florida State.
So it starts there. But I think that their offensive line is very solid. And, again, I've had them tucked away for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Would you call, if I asked you guys, give me 5 teams that would be, I don't know how to phrase this, bold, outrageous playoff picks? Would LSU fall into that category?
No.
They're not outrageous enough?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at, 20-21 wins over the last couple of years. A guy that has gotten Notre Dame there multiple times to the college football playoff, played for a national championship in 12. You know, I think more of the shocker would be the Texas A&M, the Auburn.
Yeah.
I don't even want to put Tennessee in there.
Okay, give me 5 each when we come back.
Okay.
That I would label, if everything falls right, they can make the playoffs, and they would be termed bold or outrageous playoff picks. That's part of our next segment. By the way, our friends at Saturday Tradition, Saturday Down South, the Big Ten SEC part of that, did their preseason ranking of top 15 coaches. Kirby Smart 1, Ryan Day 2. Brian Kelly
Number 3?
Number 3, rated as the third best coach in college football. Is that overhyped as some people?
I don't think so. I mean, we'll see what happens this year. I do think it's a big year for him, but year one you were like, okay, Brian Kelly beat Alabama. He won the West. Year 2, as bad as it was, they still won 10 games and they had a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, and their losses were FSU, Ole Miss, and Bama.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, which are all top 10 losses.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer listed as 4th, Dabo Swinney 5th, Lane Kiffin 6th. Too high?
Yes.
Dan Lanning 7th. Too high yet?
Well, I mean, I guess here's your problem. I mean, too high, obviously subjective, but you got to put somebody there. It just seems like those guys haven't won enough big games.
Whittingham is 8th. The guy
See, Whittingham should be in front of those guys. He's won big games.
Sark is 9th. Lincoln Riley's 10th. Mike Norvell up to 11.
He's done it one season.
James Franklin down to 12.
I mean, he's just, I don't know, he's a solid B.
Josh Heupel 13. Mike Gundy 14 and Lance Leipold 15.
I like Lance Leipold's name.
He's a really good coach. So Gundy's done, he might not be, I mean, there might be 5 or 6 guys better than him, but he's accomplished more than 5 or 6. And look, a lot of that is tenure.
He's been there a long, long time. All right, that's Saturday tradition, Saturday Down South. If you want to see the whole list of the top coaches going into this college football season that is just 15 days away, you can go sign up, make the plays this NFL exhibition season at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to sign up. And as always, the show is brought to you by the wonderful folks at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Go grab that ice-cold blue can right now and enjoy the pool, the lake, the beach, wherever, one last weekend before we get to big-time football. Maybe 2 more weekends before we get to big-time football. This is the Next Round.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or Michelson. LaserVision.com.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
I'm here with my good friend Jon Lunceford of Lunceford Furniture to tell you about special values on some super comfortable seating. What you got, John?
Lance, every year we stock up on great comfort items like Lazy Boy recliners and sofas so that our customers can be ready for fall and football. This year is no different. We've made special purchases that will deliver great value to Next Round listeners and give them the most comfortable seat in the house. And as always, we've got the best prices in the state on Lazy Boy and the best selection anywhere.
That's awesome. We all know from years of shopping with you guys that Lunceford Furniture is the home for Lazy Boy value.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show on this Friday. That means later on, you get an opportunity to hear Rockstar in the Floribama Lounge in our final segment of the weekend, singing our way out of summer and into college football season, 15 days away from that. Also, Trash coming up in the next segment. A little bit more college football continuing a little bit later on in this segment. Don't forget, our kickoff party is coming up a week from last night, so we're 6 days away from the kickoff party, Thursday night at Walk-On. Save the date there. The Next Round anniversary college football kickoff party is the fourth one we've held. I always appreciate you guys who come out and get a chance to hang out and chat and talk with you guys, raise a glass of a cold beverage, and enjoy some good food. And we sit back and talk some college football, talk some life, talk about the show and where it's headed, what we've done. We'll have some merch on hand, some great drink pricing from our friends at Adams Beverage and Bud Light, and just a fun night to all get together as a family and get ready for another college football season. Blessed to live in our country and blessed to enjoy a sport and share it with so many people, even on the other side of the rivalries. It's always fun. See the battles in the chat room, but always get a chance to get together and have some good fun at Walk-On Stadium Trace 1 week from last night, 6 days away, next Thursday night, starting at 5 o'clock when you get off work and rolling until deep into the evening. This hour always brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and his crew. I went by there before I went on vacation Friday when I got off the show a week ago. Went by and saw Sterling was on vacation. Megan was running the place. Still had the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Then I enjoyed chicken on a stick, a different item for me there. A little shish kebab action there. Great sides, including the wonderful desserts that they make on property there. Took my mom and dad a Mississippi mud pie that they make right there on property. It's Highway 119 right there in Alabaster. Can't beat Sterling and the gang at champyschicken.com. Before we get back to college football, the Olympics, final few days, the Americans are running away with the medal count.
Yeah.
But the gold medals is coming into today was 30 for the U.S., 29 for China.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys pay attention to that. Do you consider overall medals as having the best Olympics? To me, as a kid, I always went, who had the most gold medals?
Well, I think it's almost like the double crown. I think you've got to have the most gold and the most
agree.
overall medals.
I want us to come about most gold, most medals.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know how the Chinese are doing in track. There's a lot of track left.
Yeah. And that's where we're powerhouse in.
Yeah. The video that we can't play because of Olympic copywriting and stuff, but earlier this week, the synchronized swimming is what I call it. It's called something else now, rhythmic dance or water dancing or whatever it's called. But the American team did the underwater moonwalk.
Yes.
That was a freaking amazing.
They got fourth though. I mean, it was
I think
incredible.
they got second.
I thought they got fourth.
Maybe I thought they ended up silver medal.
They didn't get the gold.
They didn't get the gold either way.
But underwater moonwalking, if you haven't had a chance to go see that or missed it when it was on the Olympics, it was absolutely a tremendous routine that had a lot of people talking. All right, back to college football we go here. By the way, when we're talking coaching, can I ask you guys who is the most successful coach right now that their own fan base sort of is lukewarm on? They're not in love with him?
Off the top of my head, Dabo Sweeney comes to mind. but I feel like it's newer energy than previous because of his view on the transfer portal.
I mean, there's so many ways you could go. You could go Dabo. You could go Lincoln Riley.
So you think Lincoln Riley's at the point that USC fans
I
are
think
starting
USC fans are starting to scratch their heads, and they're like, what is going on? Outside of that, I mean, Mike Gundy's always going to be one of these guys that's going to be in that conversation.
What about James Franklin? I never know how Penn State fans feel about him.
I think this is the year. Like, if you expand this thing now to 12, which we've done, and it looked like Penn State was always knocking on the door, 10 wins, they never win the big games. But if you're a Penn State fan, now you look at it and you're like, maybe we don't have to win one of these big games. Maybe we can go 10-2, beat everybody we're supposed to, and still get in. So if I'm a Penn State fan, based on what the expectation is with Drew Aller coming back, it's college football playoff or bust.
Yeah, I always wonder. I don't know. Rusty says Lincoln Riley there. A Vol fan says Ryan Day. I think the media maybe blows up Ryan Day more, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I don't live there. But from the outside, I've always thought Penn State deserved more success than James Franklin was living, but I don't know any Penn State people to know if they're upset with what James Franklin has been delivering them or not. I hear the
Penn
Clemson
State's
Dabo.
almost a poor Texas A&M to me.
Yeah, I just think that it's those expectations of always being close and never really delivering. But I think you could argue that for Ohio State these last couple of years.
And I shouldn't call them poor. A&M's in the 1%. Penn State's probably in the 3%.
I saw a guy that, honestly, a little heavier than Joe Paterno, but a guy looked like Joe Paterno walking his dog this morning in my drive.
Joe Pesci?
Joe Paterno.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. Joe Paterno. The black glasses and everything, except his hair had a sprinkling of gray. I was like,
A little salt and pepper.
Is that Joe Paterno walking a dog? No, he's dead, Jim. All right. The question I asked you guys: 5 playoff teams that people, the general college football public, would call bold or outrageous picks to make the playoffs. You would take some things falling the right way.
Yeah, I've got one in the SEC, one in the Big Ten. I have got one in the Big 12 and 2 in the ACC.
2 in the ACC.
I'm dancing around too.
Okay, give me your list first, LT.
I will start in the ACC. NC State, I think it would shock people. If you look at Dave Duran, he hasn't gotten great quarterback play recently. Like, I thought it would be much better last year with Brennan Armstrong. Now you have a really experienced quarterback in Grayson McCall. The defense is going to be good again. Got to run the football more effectively, but almost 9 wins every year. And if they could beat one of these teams they're maybe not supposed to, maybe it is in week 2 against Tennessee. They find themselves 10 wins, hovering right around a 1-game situation in the ACC championship game to get to a college football playoff. But if you told people at the end of the year NC State will be one of the final 16, I think people would be really surprised.
I think so too. I wrote them down as well, and I think that's an influence from you and just how much you've influenced me on paying attention to what Doran does as a coach there. So I wrote NC State down too. Give me another one, LT.
Virginia Tech. Based on 20 returning starters, the way they played in the second half of the season, and more importantly, their schedule. There is a chance if everything breaks right, they're going to be favored in at least 10 games, maybe 11. They win the games they're supposed to be favored in, they could have that 1-game situation to get the automatic qualifier. And a lot of this depends on how healthy Drones is at the quarterback position. If he can stay healthy, the offense can move, and they can be a dangerous out this year. But I think people would be absolutely shocked based on where Virginia Tech was last September if they were one of the final 12.
Who's their quarterback? Because I could not tackle him last night in EA college football.
It's the Drones kid.
Yeah.
And he was so good in the second half of last season. The fear is they don't have a number 2, or at least a number 2 that can win games.
So are they to try to not run him as much, or what? He seemed to be such a dynamic player last.
I think you've got to let him play the way he plays. But, if you go back and you look last year at what Virginia Tech, the way they played in the second half of the season, and, really it was all about Kyron Drones. I mean, the guy was really, really good down the stretch.
I had NC State. I didn't have Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, but not NC State. And basically for the exact same reason, vets, most returning starters, and good schedule.
So Virginia Tech is on EG's list, not on mine. Give me another one.
My Big 12 team, Kansas. Kansas is going to be favored in 10 games. And if Jalen Daniels. If Jalen Daniels is healthy for a full 12 regular season games, he could put up numbers. I'm not going to say Jaden Daniels-like, But like Jaden Daniels' numbers were astronomical. They were an A+. Jalen Daniels can have A numbers under Lance Leipold. And again, they can get to a one-game situation in the Big 12 championship game. Would not be surprised at all if Kansas finds themselves there. And if they do and get the automatic qualifier, you just look at the helmet, people are going to be like, damn, where'd Kansas come from? And Lance Leipold's been building this over the last couple of years.
Kansas on my list,
Kansas on my list as well.
Yep, so Kansas on my list. Give me another one.
Iowa, based on schedule. If Iowa wins a game it's supposed to, they could go 11-1, and they could find themselves in a situation, whether it's Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, one of those teams on the outside with 2 losses. Like really not even having to beat anybody of substance. They go 11-1, lose to Ohio State, and there's a couple of other hiccups for some of those 3 teams that I mentioned. Then you get them in a situation, and I think at 11-1, even losing that game, it goes back to a conversation we had with Greg Sankey out at SEC Media Days. Like, how can you have a team play in the game and not actually get to the 12-team playoff? And this isn't even a 2-loss team that we're talking about, because I brought up the scenario with 4 2-loss teams. This would be a 1-loss Big Ten team. If you lose that game and you're 11-2, how do you not make the college football playoff? I know there maybe aren't quality wins there, but it would be really difficult to leave Iowa out at that point. But I think right now where we are, people would find it difficult to believe Iowa could get to a 12-team playoff.
I did not have Iowa on my
I didn't have
list.
Iowa.
Yeah. You got one more or 2 more?
Yeah, one more.
One more. Who is it?
SEC, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
I mean, based on the fact that you paid Jimbo Fisher a ton of money, and there was so much expectation, and they never got to an SEC championship. Really, the only time they were close, you could go back to the COVID year, which was really weird. They only had the 1 loss in the 10-game schedule. But going back to 2012, Kevin Sumlin, Johnny Manziel, that was the best team they've had. But if things break right with this schedule, A&M could find themselves with 10 wins, and who knows?
Did A&M on your list?
No, I've got UNC, though. I think that they also have a good schedule. They've got experience. I like Mac Brown as a coach.
They changed that coaching staff, bringing in Jeff Collins, trying to improve that defense a little bit at Carolina. That's been a problem.
Yeah, and then I've got Utah, which I don't think would be that crazy.
Oh, not a shock at all,
if you are familiar with out of your own conference.
Yeah, especially with Cam Rising coming
He's
back.
Healed. Right. And then another one that really isn't crazy for me is I had Tennessee before you said that you wouldn't include them on this, but I still think when you look at the SEC, I think that could be a sneaky good team.
No, I put Tennessee down on my list too because I don't think anyone thinks of them as a playoff team right now.
No.
Well, I think they're preseason coaches poll 16 or 17. And you look at 2 years ago under Heupel, they should have been in a college football playoff. If you can get that kind of production, like Joe Milton, I didn't think he was great last year. They still won 9 games. But if Nico is as good as advertised, the back end of the defense is going to be the big question mark for Tennessee and the difficult schedule. But, I mean, we're used to 10 wins a year right now for Heupel. You get 10 wins, you're there.
Yeah, they're 7th in the media poll in the SEC. So that to me would be a surprise if they were in there. So I put them down. I also had USC because I just think I think Lincoln Riley's a better football coach than he gets credit for. Now I feel like there's no pressure on him now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he doesn't have Caleb Williams.
You're the one saying it.
He doesn't have Caleb Williams. He doesn't. He's got Miller Moss. He doesn't have all the kids he brought from Oklahoma. He's off the beaten path now. It seems like in Los Angeles where he was the big flashy hire. I feel like this is the kind of year he could sneak in there and grab one of those Big Ten wild card spots.
If for whatever reason they survive September, and it's going to be really difficult because they open with LSU. I don't think they win that game. Utah State, then they go to Michigan. Even if they were to split there and they beat Wisconsin and they're 3-1 going into that game against Minnesota, they were to win that game 4-1, then they're ranked probably in the top 15. We know Penn State and James Franklin don't have a lot of success against teams that are in the top 15, top 10. Penn State's got to come to the Coliseum, and if they won that game, then they could go on a roll. So, schedule is beneficial once you get out of September. I just don't know if they can survive September without 2 losses.
Show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you the lock every day, lanceslock.com, and they also keep the heating and cooling rolling for you.
Yeah, we've got, so we were 2-0 in the NFL preseason. That's where we stand, 2-0 last night, and we've got a preseason package on our new website, lanceslock.com. Scroll down. all-inclusive. We don't win this preseason. You get the first month of the NFL season absolutely free on us. Got a new podcast up right now. It tells you the amount of teams that will be favored in 10-plus games in the Power Four. Win at lanceslog.com. But our friends at Hemp Hill, trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954. If you experience any cooling, heating, or plumbing issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
By the way, New Village Vice is out. It's part of the platform over at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Free show for you over there. A lot of free content for you at thebarnauburn.com and also at covercrimson.com. Free shows, free content, but also some behind the paywall stuff that gives you some insider information going into this weekend of scrimmages and practices as we get ready for the season here with covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com, the two websites. For $1, go sign up and see if you like it on a trial basis over there at those two websites. One more thing in this segment. 4 coaches that are under 40. I'm going to give them to you, and you tell me the 4 of them who has the most success by the time they're in their late 40s. 3 of them are 38 years old, and 1 of them is 39 years old. So a decade from now, when they're 48 and 49, who's been the most successful, second, third, and fourth successful of these 4. It's amazing that Marcus Freeman is 38. He's the coach of Notre Dame. Dan Lanning, 38, the coach at Oregon. Sharon Moore taking over at Michigan. He's 38. And then some people consider him an up-and-coming guy, former Tennessee OC, now the head coach at USF. Alex Golich is 39. There's 4 guys under 40 who have had some success at different varying levels. A decade from now, who's the most successful, second most successful, third, and fourth?
I would go Dan Lanning 1.
Okay, I'm saying.
I am going to go Marcus Freeman 2.
Okay,
and by the
3.
way, I think this is the order they're set up for success. I'm going to go Golich 3, and Sharon Moore I'm putting dead last.
Okay. We're basically
Now, and
saying-
Golich is a roll of the dice because he's in the worst situation right now. You know, if he goes 7-6 again, probably doesn't get a job. Could go 7-6 again in 2 years. It's going to take one of those magical years to get him out of there. I think if you get him out of there, I think it's a fun offense to watch, and I think it could kind of explode, especially if, let's say the scenario plays out where Billy Napier does get fired. Golich wins 8 or 9 games this year. Florida wants that style of football. They bring him in. They don't have a lot of opportunity for success. I just think more being at a place that just won 15 games, I think it's a difficult follow. We saw that it's not the easiest place to win championships when you go from 97 to 2023 before you won another national championship. That's the way I would have it.
And he's got the deleted text that popped up this week, and so he's starting with a little cloud over him coming off of the Jim Harbaugh things. Does that impact him, you think?
I put him at 3 because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Alex. How do you say his last name?
Golich.
I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
So Sharon, then Alex.
Yeah, go back and watch Alabama's last trip to Neyland Stadium, and that's all you need to know about Alex Golich.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. It's an interesting group of young coaches under the age of 40 as some of the top coaches in college football have gotten a little younger. All right. Trash coming up in the next segment, Rockstar's Floribama Lounge, and a lot more as we continue on today. This is The Next Round, show number 760. We're 15 days away from yet another college football season.
Never miss anything Auburn. Watch Village Vice at Wardam Pods on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The first college football tailgate party of the season is set. Bowling and Bragging will be Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. in Crestline Village in Mountain Brook, benefiting the Critical Care Transport Program at Children's of Alabama. For more information, visit boilingandbragging.org.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Woodhouse Day Spa bringing you part of the show today. A lot of great treatments there, including a relaxing massage for a great gift to give the wife or the girlfriend.
Yeah, so you are going to be hanging out watching football, whether it's all weekend, preseason football, at least in the next couple of weeks. We get full slate of college football coming up. You can send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa. You can sit on the couch and go to the sports bar. She can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift online 24/7. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That is birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
All right, we have an update to a story, the viral video we showed you yesterday of the Appalachian State player that is in a battle with an offensive lineman. The D lineman rips off the helmet, then takes a full swing and hits the guy right in the face. And you'll see the video over and over here. Appalachian State issuing a statement. No names have been released. The player who did the striking or the person that got hit. Apparently they're in numbers that didn't coincide with a roster that anybody can report the names yet. So they don't give the names, but they do say the player that rips the helmet off and hits the other player in the face is being punished internally. Not dismissed from the team or anything like that. No criminal charges or anything. Just internal punishment.
I mean, it's something you don't see all the time. Very violent. No. You're glad the kid is not, seriously injured. But, one heated moment like that, you don't want. I mean, if the guy doesn't have any priors, like any other situations where, any violent acts against teammates and stuff, one situation you don't want to see him lose, or get thrown off the team.
I agree. I'd like to know what also transpired before that.
Yeah. Nicholas says, by the way, lucky he had the Guardian cap on, that the padded that helps with concussion over the outside of the helmet. So it wasn't the hard shell that was actually hitting him. It was a little bit of a cushion. Still hurts like heck. It's going to take a little getting used to. I don't know if you've seen a little in the NFL, and I think it's available in college as well. But I know in the NFL they're going to allow you to wear the Guardian caps in the game. And I've seen, I don't know if you saw any in the exhibition last night, but I saw some in practice.
I didn't see any in the exhibition.
They're painted to try to look like the helmets with the logo and such on it. It's a different look.
I didn't notice any.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe there was some and you didn't even notice.
Yeah. It doesn't have the same shine as the other helmet. So it'll take, I don't know if that's the case in college or not, if you can wear the Guardian helmets in the game, but you can in the NFL this year for sure. Tom Fornelli, CBSSports.com, writes 5 teams. I added a 6th that because of schedule could be spoilers in the college football playoff race. The one I added was Oklahoma. They just play so many big games that if they were good and won a couple of the big games, they could do a lot of spoiling in college.
Yeah, I don't know if you were in when I was talking about Oklahoma. I've got a buddy out there, and he said that Oklahoma fans are convinced like their floor now is 9-3, or 3 losses. And you start to look at that schedule, and they're going to start 3-0, but then it gets real with Tennessee coming to Norman. They've got to go to Auburn, and then they've got Texas. I mean, that 3-game stretch to open the SEC is crazy. Mm-hmm. Then they get a breather with South Carolina coming to Norman. You got to go to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. You got to go to Columbia to take on Missouri. You've got Alabama and at LSU. I mean, it's just an insane. It's outside of Florida. It's the most difficult schedule I can remember.
No one did them a favor in their entry in the SEC.
Yeah, and that's why I put them on this list. Tom Fornelli didn't. They just play so many playoff contenders along the way. They 100% could be a spoiler this year. He lists Florida for the same reason. They have so many big games that they could spoil Miami, UCF, and some others along the way. And an SEC schedule, Florida State at the end, they could obviously be a spoiler. He has another SEC team, South Carolina, as a spoiler. Now, they get Clemson at the end. That could disrupt them a little bit, obviously. Early on, they get SEC powers, LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, A&M, Missouri, some of those teams.
I'm not seeing it, but, you had a quarterback last year that was an NFL quarterback in Spencer Rattler. They were a disappointment based on where they were in 2022. To me, South Carolina more like the team fighting to be 13th, 14th, or 15th in the conference. Yeah. Like, we'll secure 16th for Vanderbilt, but is it Mississippi State? Is it South Carolina?
Yeah, if they got to a bowl game, that would be amazing.
I would agree.
UCLA and Wisconsin are the other two teams in Tom Fornelli's spoiler list there. And I just don't know what to expect from Wisconsin.
I think Wisconsin's going to be better in Phil Longo's system in year 2, and I think Tyler Van Dyke, little spotlight off of him. Wisconsin's a team nobody's talking about. Luke Fickell's obviously a really good coach, trying to get acclimated to the Big Ten again in year 1 at Wisconsin. I think they're going to be better than advertised, and I do think they'll beat a team or two they shouldn't.
Yeah, they get Alabama in week 3 up at Camp Randall. That gets us to trash today. It's brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Rockstar, if you will, man, hit the big button.
She don't hear half the shit that I tell her,
Yeah, because the way you talk is stupid.
If you don't hear it, how do you know it's stupid?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Our friends at Mortgage Right want to remind you, whether you're buying your first home or your final home, whether you need a huge down payment, anything, these guys are your mortgage experts. You can get more information by going to their website. Everything's absolutely free, no cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. It is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right, they're here to help. They were veteran founded here in Birmingham and offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Go to mortgageright.com/TNR, call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. We start first in Atlanta, your neck of the woods.
Woohoo!
Group of people swarmed outside of an Atlanta club after the owners were evicted and boxes of liquor were left out in the parking lot on Wednesday. Now, the incident, I'm going to assume you've never been here, E.G., but maybe, It was the Red Martini Lounge on Peachtree Street. Video shared with Channel 2 Action News showed people collecting the boxes of liquor bottles and driving away with them.
Yeah, it's a yard sale, everybody.
Yeah, I have not been there. I have heard about this story because of my proximity, and apparently the same thing happened with a beauty supply store. And the same thing went on.
They put all the beauty supply stuff out in the streets?
Yeah, well, and people were lining up to claim the stuff.
So what you're saying is if you are a bike rider in downtown, you probably need to chain up the bike?
Yeah, I guess so.
Now, according to the court order, club's owners terminated the lease August 4th, 2023, but the business owners refused to move out of the property. That'll teach them. Landlord listed as Ralph plus Rita Venture LLC was granted a right of possession of the property December 19th, 2023. The business was supposed to leave the property within 7 days. Video and post on social media had people coming to the parking lot, grabbing liquor bottles or whatever they could of value. According to court documents, business tenants owe the landlord more than $55,000.
Just looking at the picture, do you guys like to wear flesh tone stuff?
The one lady is bent over?
The toe touch does.
Yeah, I'm not good with flesh tone.
I agree.
Yeah. I'll do my leggings. That's about it.
So here's my.
I'm not going to say they deserve what happened to them. I hate that people are stealing, but when you were bounced out of your place back in December and you finally move out in August.
Why don't you, if you've got to recoup $55,000, why am I not selling off the liquor and or
cents on the dollar?
Yeah. I would try to recoup.
Of course, that's what the old 5-finger discount there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would have, if I was the guy kicking them out, I would have held the stuff on the inside and then sold the liquor to friends and or equipment, DJ stuff, whatever the other stuff that was in there.
That was the next one out of Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Never heard of Whitefish Bay. But police department clocked an Illinois woman going 60 and a 30. Happened around 1:30 a.m. Traffic stop. Started off like any other. Quickly went off the rails. 35-year-old Mallory Griffin reportedly ignored commands from police. Dashcam video shows the Illinois woman taking off again, stopping just down the street where more officers are waiting. She's taken into custody then, laughing at officers, even when she is put in the back of the squad car. Now, when she is taken back to the police station, an officer asked the 35-year-old if she has any bruises. Griffin is heard asking, quote, "Do you want me to get undressed? Do you want to see it?"
She does get undressed, by the way.
Before
she
doing
takes her britches off.
A sobriety test, Griffin does what appears to be yoga poses, as you can see right there if you're watching us. Quote, "Can you do what I can do? Can you do this? And you're a cop," she asked. "I haven't worked out in 3 years." Now, police determined she was under the influence of something.
She has a workout outfit on. She hasn't worked out in 3 years.
Speaking of wearing flesh tone, do you guys ever drive barefoot?
I do occasionally.
No.
Yeah, if I have, if I'm like driving back from the golf course and it's too hot to put on socks and shoes, different pair of socks and shoes, I'll throw on some sliders, and then I don't feel comfortable driving in my sliders, so I'll slip the right one off and drive with my toes.
I did the other day. We were at the beach. I had flip-flops on. Only place you'll catch me wearing flip-flops at the beach. Yeah. But you can't really drive in flip-flops.
No,
they get stuck.
Yeah.
Your top will get stuck, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah. How do you? I don't understand how you guys drive. Y'all have some wacky shoes, women, and I don't see.
I
guess
women that drive with their left leg up.
Yeah.
Like on the window.
You get a lot of that young college girls driving to the beach or back to campus, heading down 65, where left leg's up, right leg's on the gas pedal. But I mean, do you have certain shoes that it's just hard to drive in, like Stacks or Heels or anything? That's just the way you've always driven.
That's just the way it goes.
You're just used to it.
I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
I do have one pair of heels that is not good to drive in. It's a very thin heel, and I'm scared it's gonna get like tucked underneath the gas pedal.
Gets wedged in there.
Yeah, it gets wedged in there.
And then it's going whatever speed.
I brought this up the other day. We were talking about heels. It was on trash. And girls your age now wear comfortable shoes when you go to a bar.
Yeah.
And it used to be heels all the time. But we were talking about the sideline reporters. That game's changed too. I mean, isn't it difficult to wear a heel if you're on natural turf?
Yes. So the only times I have worn heels for football, it was... Who were we playing?
Rose Bowl.
Well, no. This is for sideline reporting.
Okay.
But Rose Bowl, I did wear heels as well.
Who tried to talk you out of that?
You did, but I don't regret it. Anyways, but at Georgia Southern, I wore heels for the first time all season. And it was actually, we beat, I guess it was JMU. It was top 25 team. They were 25. I had yet to have to run in a game, but the field got stormed by our little Georgia Southern fans. And I was having to chase Kyle Van Treese through the crowd. And I said, okay, I'll never wear heels again because of that. And then the only time I wore heels for basketball season, I had to chase Coach Berg into the locker room, pull him out. And so now I'm like, they're cursed.
Yeah.
I think I have a video of it somewhere.
Yeah, I just told you we were going to be walking forever at the Rose Bowl, and you don't regret it, you say?
No, I don't regret it at all.
You ended up with 2 Band-Aids.
Yeah, courtesy of Alabama Cheer.
Yeah.
So when I was at, and I talked about it on the air, a very eventful 4th of July party up in Nashville, I met a girl with the name Khaleesi. We've got a 6-year-old girl, recently denied a passport because she was named after the popular Game of Thrones character, Khaleesi.
Why could you?
Wait,
why would
denied
you,
a passport?
Why would you be denied a passport?
Mother Lucy tells BBC that the officials told her that the passport application for Khaleesi needed Warner Brothers approval since they own the name's trademark, as per a report in BBC.
BS.
Notably, Khaleesi was the title given to the character Daenerys Targaryen in the show. She went on to say, quote, "I was absolutely devastated. We were so looking forward to our first holiday together. Family were planning their dream vacation to Disneyland in Paris. I didn't know that was still open. Wasn't that former Euro Disney?
Yeah, I think so.
Quote, but when I had a letter come through from the passport office saying her name is trademarked by Warner Brothers, it was the first I've heard of such a thing. I was astonished, 39-year-old mother continued. Her attorneys looked into it and found that although Game of Thrones is trademarked, it is for products and services, not for a person's name. So she went on to say that information was sent to the passport office, who said I would need a letter from Warner Brothers to confirm my daughter is able to use that name. Lucy expressed her frustration and questioned why it was not flagged earlier, didn't understand and felt frustrated. If she could get a birth certificate, would something have not been flagged then? I never thought you could trademark a name. Now, further, the passport office called the woman and apologized for their mistake. They added that there was a misunderstanding. However, Lucy believes that this was only possible after she posted on social media. She went on to say, he advised me that they should be able to process my daughter's passport now. If I hadn't posted on social media, nothing would have been done. I would have been stuck not knowing what to do. This seems like common sense. Like, you can name your kid anything, right?
Yeah, I just don't think there should be. Yeah, I understand the copywriting where I can't make money off of Khaleesi, the name. But if I've named my daughter after Khaleesi, then she should be able to get a passport.
It seems to be there's one stickler for the rules that said, no, that's trademarked, and then they went with it. And they're just like, no, I think it's just the name of the show. No, Khaleesi's part of the show. And then they had to do this whole whole process of this little girl.
I wonder if Nick Saban pursued every dog owner. The dog's named Saban. I mean, how many dogs do you think are named Saban in the state of Alabama?
Would be insane. Yeah. Well, you know, when Camden Yards first opened up in the 90s, it was a very popular dog name, was Camden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's insanity to try to do that.
So Liam Powell has been part of a large-scale disorder outside a pub in Bolton on August 4th in Manchester. Now, police found the 28-year-old in a group of 3 males, 1 female. After a search, officers found a small snap bag containing cocaine. Court heard that Powell has 11 convictions for 17 different offenses, including 3 drug-related matters from 2012 to 2021 and a violent robbery offense in 2018. Now, defending duty solicitor Gabriella Black said that Powell had used the powder on his gums for pain relief and did not know it was cocaine when he purchased it. This is unbelievable, right?
That's a mistake.
Medicinal.
I had no idea.
Now, Judge Hurst said that, quote, the aggravating features of the offense had been the high-risk environment in which he was found with the cocaine, with police only attending due to the large-scale disorder. Powell was sentenced to a 12-month community order with 80 hours of unpaid work. He was ordered to pay cost of $110 and a government charge of $145 for a total of $255. It looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah. I know. He's got the head cocked back.
My teeth don't hurt.
Yeah. 5'10", 185, Northview High School. It looks like he's posing there for his the game program picture.
If you're looking for a new home, or our friends at Mortgage Right, here to help, whether you're a first-time buyer or seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Floribama Lounge coming up on the other side. I always love to, when EG or Taylor's in here, to tell them one college football thing that will shock them from my childhood.
All right.
When I was a kid, that picture just reminded me of this. Doubt LT remembers this. LT's too young for this, too. Instead of having a graphic on who the starting lineup was, in old games, you can find these on YouTube. You may have to go early 70s, late 60s for these pictures on YouTube. They would actually have, in the pregame on ABC broadcast, like an X on the field, and the team would line up, and you would run to the X with your helmet off, and you would stand there, and you'd be like, Jim Dunaway, 6', 187, tight end. And then you'd run off, and the next guy would run up. And then the last guy would always be the coach, Paul Bear Bryant. And you'd walk off. And then they would introduce the next team, and they'd run up one at a time, and they would say their names.
That's so interesting.
It took forever, first off.
Yeah, I was going to say they had a lot of time for that.
Yeah. But that was how they used to do the starting lineups on the big ABC college football games. Insanity.
Yeah. Don't remember that.
Long time ago. That's why I like, is it Sunday Night Football that still does the videotape?
Little intros.
Yeah, the players. I always, the ones that don't use their college, I always am like, come on, man, use your college. All right, Rockstar comes sliding in here, going to sing us into the weekend. Floribama Lounge, this hour brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Highway 119. It's the weekend there. Go see Megan for a good margarita. Sterling's got all the great food cooking up. He brines that chicken overnight. Cooked to order, deep fried, southern fried chicken, hand-cut chicken fingers, and so much more. Perfect to win your tailgate this year. It is champyschicken.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new Chicken Bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at The Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Back with you on The Next Round. Final segment during the summer, all summer long, is the Floribama Lounge, brought to you by the great folks at the Floribama, Uncle Steve and the folks down there.
Yeah, our friends at the Floribama want to remind you, Bulls on the Beach. Emily Grace, I don't think you've ever been to the Floribama, have you?
No, I haven't. Missing out.
But yes, Bulls on the Beach. Get your tickets early. Bulls on the Beach, one of Floribama's most anticipated events of the year. Bring the family out to experience the ultimate adrenaline rush. 3 nights of live rodeo action featuring professional bull riders from all over the country. Portion of the proceeds from this event will go to the St. Jude Hospital, Children's Research Hospital. It's September 5th through the 7th. They're already more than halfway sold out. They're going to sell out. They do it every year. Tickets are on sale now. Go to floribama.com.
Yeah, great place. You put it on you and Mikey's to-do list at some point coming up. Great weather down there when we go down for Army, Navy. It ends up being really good weather for that as well. Always a good time to sneak around 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Speaking of the Floribama, Rockstar in the lounge again today. You got a Jimmy Buffett show anytime in the near future lined up?
Sunday, September 2nd, I think it is.
That's Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, Labor Day weekend. It's Sunday that night. We're at Lake Martin Amphitheater.
Lake Martin Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Very popular
Doing the
location.
old Buffett show in the heat.
In
a
the
black
heat.
jacket.
Outside.
We did Fleetwood Mac here last year. It was a hot one. It was fun.
I missed the Floribama Lounge when you announced your second child on the way.
Yeah.
I was out sick for that one. And last week you didn't announce anything big. You had a big announcement today. Anything changing in your life? Decided to color for the nursery yet?
No, I think we got a big appointment on Monday.
Have you decided yet? You finding out or not?
We're probably going to find out. But we're going to do like a tame gender reveal, something with cord, not like something like I'm not going to fly a plane and pink dust or blue dust comes out of it. I'm not doing anything like that. We're going to try something like that where we involve him.
Sweet.
So
he's been saying Big Brother all. He has no idea what it means, but he's been saying Big Brother nonstop. He might like the show, or the government's watching us.
Yeah, he's going to be a Big Brother is what he's saying.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't know. He's just a Big Brother.
Yeah.
Big Brother.
Yeah, he's going to be a big brother. Rockstar in the Floribama Lounge. What are you singing today, man, to get us going for the weekend?
I just came to this. I don't know why. Let's do a little Allman Brothers. Melissa. You guys ever hear this song, Melissa?
Yes.
Is this
couple times.
Is this Sweet Melissa?
It is Sweet Melissa. I think. Who's singing this one? One of the Allman Brothers is singing it, but it's a good tune. So something different. And something I don't have to scream at because my nose is still congested. I don't know if you noticed that, but still coughing if I laugh too hard.
All right. So Rockstar with a rock classic, Melissa, from the Allman Brothers in the Floribama Lounge.
Crossroads seem to come and go. Yeah. The gypsy flies from coast to coast, knowing many, loving none, bearing sorrow, having fun. But back home he'll always run to sweet Melissa. Ooh. Freight train, each car looks the same, all the same. No one knows the gypsy's name. No one hears his lonely sigh. There are no blankets where he lies, and all his deepest dreams, the gypsy flies with sweet Melissa. Ooh. Again the morning's come, again he's on the run. Sunbeam shining through his hair, appears not to have a care. Well, pick up your geary gypsy, roll, roll. Crossroads, will you ever let him go? Lord, Lord, will you hide the dead man's ghost? Or will he lie beneath the clay? Will his spirit fall away? But I know he won't stay without Melissa. Yes, I know he won't stay without my left side. Thank you.
Yeah. A little slower than they sing it, right? Or is that about the same?
About the same.
It's about the same.
About
Yeah, I'm
the
just
same?
yeah.
Yeah.
I tuned it down half a step. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was thinking. Is tuned
Yeah.
it down. I was going to go a quarter of a step, but it was a
it's
full
a
half.
little half a step.
Full of half a step. Zach was saying you transitioned into "I'm No Angel" or something like that.
There's a ton of Kings of Leon songs, and I was trying to think of which one I could do that just.
What do you call it when you sneak in a chorus of near the end of a song and then you go back to it? Does it have a name?
I don't know what it is. I'm just blending something because I remember whenever I did the Adored song, The Collective Soul, like this is the exact same progression as What If God Was One of Us by Joan Osborne. And this is Kings of Leon use these chords nonstop. I went blank.
So they use the Allman Brothers chords?
No, that's just E, F sharp, A flat.
Have they done anything in a while?
They just released a new song. Like
Kings
they
of
all
Leon.
got married and got kids, and it's like they're brothers, 3 brothers and a cousin, I think.
I didn't realize they were related.
Yeah, and I think they just released a new single.
Jay writes in, my ideal Rocky for his gender reveal is he had a paint party. The cans are in generic colors, and you invite people over. You open the paint can, you see the color, and then the party is they're painting the nursery.
Yeah, I think that's when everybody leaves and you and Nancy are painting.
Yeah. Does that mean we have to participate in the painting? There's one thing I can't stand is painting. It's awful. No, priming. Painting's okay.
Yeah.
Priming sucks.
That's it. Maggie and I had a deal that she would do. She would prime the wall and do the cut-in, and then I would do everything else.
Brush, I'm fine. I hate the roller. Absolutely hate the roller.
Yeah, no, I love the roller.
I like the brush.
I hate the roller. Painting the ceiling, like priming, because I remember I did like 2 coats of prime. That's when Greg from Pell City bailed me out. I was having a breakdown because we were going through a lot that year, and I was sitting in that nursery about to start crying. I was like, I just can't do this because we have like 2 days.
At least you got another one coming.
Yeah, same house, same little cottage too.
I'm telling you, 1 to 2 is not as big a deal as 0 to 1.
Okay.
0 to 1 is life changing.
Unless 2's colicky.
Yeah, and which he was. He was. Every time in the car, it was a volcano of lava crying. It was awful.
I don't know. I guess you can. You don't hear of a lot of people having 2 colicky though.
Yeah.
It's always like we're going to expect the other one to be a polar opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
Normally.
Well, you do.
This was going to sleep all through the night, and
one more little song after I remind people about. Well, we'll come up with something. Maybe we'll do the old jukebox.
Jukebox is going to be hard today because of my voice.
Yeah, I don't know if EG's ever seen you do the jukebox. Always impressive. Couple of things right now on the new websites. Zach Blackerby's just back from Hugh Freeze's news conferences. He's got the 3 biggest takeaways from Hugh's news conference today. That is up at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. You can get Zach's reaction to that. Go subscribe, $1 to jump in right there, thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. And then a ton of stuff over at Cover Crimson right now, leading into the big scrimmage weekend as Kalen DeBoer takes Alabama out for their first fall scrimmage coming up tomorrow. Cover Crimson has that covered, and both Clint Lamb and the rest of that team, different ways they're breaking down on what to look for in the scrimmage coming up. That is covercrimson.com. Again, $1 gets you going with your subscription plan over there. A lot of free stuff, but also some behind the paywall stuff for you throughout this upcoming football season. EG, you had a little smile. Did you have a request there?
Yeah, what about anything by The Fray? You found me by The Fray? How to Save a Life?
You've done that just recently,
I've
haven't
done
you?
How You Save a Life.
Anything from 90s rap for LT?
We're coming up on it. You got to do a Sabrina Carpenter, like a 2.5 minute song here.
I heard that today too.
You like Sabrina Carpenter?
I don't really know a lot of her stuff except for that one song that's, 2.5 minutes
She
long.
was a Disney girl, right? That
She was.
That has a whole new good album right now.
She's got 3, I think, top 10 hits right now.
Yeah. Is After Midnight her?
I know The Feather, Espresso, and Please, Please, Please.
So maybe it's not After
way
Midnight.
too much Sabrina Carpenter.
Sounds like somebody's got a 20-something daughter and girlfriend in his life right there. A little Sabrina Carpenter action.
All right, let's try the fray.
Okay, a little fray to end the show. Brought to you by our friends at Floribama one more time.
Yeah, again, Floribama's Bulls on the Beach. Do not miss this event if you have an opportunity. September 5th through the 7th. More than halfway sold out. They sell out every single year. Go to floribama.com. Get your tickets. Bring the family out to experience the ultimate adrenaline rush. 3 nights, live rodeo action featuring professional bull riders from all over the country. Portion of the proceeds of this event go to the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Play us out of here, Rockstar. What you got
We'll
for
do a
us?
little sample. I found God on the corner of First and Amistad, where the West was all but one. All alone, smoking his last cigarette. I said, where you been? He said, go on, ask anything. Where were you when everything was falling apart? All my days were spent by the telephone. It never rang. All I needed was a call that never came to the corner of First and Amistad. Lost and insecure, you found me lying on the floor. Surrounded, why'd you have to wait? Where were you, just a little late? You found me.
Rockstar in the Floribama Lounge there. Do you have that guitar muted over there by chance on the
Oh, I did.
Yeah, play us out of the sweet little guitar.
I found. All right, we'll do this thing first. You just told me. Interrupt me, guys. In the end, everyone ends up all alone, losing her, the only one who's ever known who I am, who I was, who I wanna be. No way to know how long she will be next to me.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham